What's up, guys? Studfit here. We have another episode of The Rundown, this time for the Halloween tour. Welcome to my good friend, Antilev. Welcome, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me again.
So I'm a little under the weather, so we'll see how this goes, but we have a pretty exciting tour. Well, a lot going on when it comes to buffs, something in the 280 or so buffs, which is absolutely insane due to all the new tracks we have. So we'll get into all of this. However, I will say on a crazy day like this, hadn't even taken a shower, so hence the hat. I do all that and grind like I possibly as much as I possibly can for every single person on here. We finally hit 100 members. As you know, membership has been a focal point for me. When I'm laying in bed, I'm like, it's not always about like, hey, how can I get more subscribers? For me, it's like, how do I bring more value to the members that we have? And so for me, it's like there's constant attention from my perspective into what can I do more for the members? What do the members want? Like, what can I do for them? And so it certainly shows here. Basically broke the slide here. It was one of the more tedious but also most rewarding slides I put together here for the rundown. So just a huge thank you to all the mods you see with the little M's there, especially for Larry98, who has been grinding. In fact, he had his sheet shut down. It was somehow running some kind of like pretend phantom algorithms over and over and over again. So he had to start from scratch. So 8 hours he put into it. He had to start over from scratch. So I literally cannot do this without Larry98. So huge shout out to Larry98. Everything he does, but literally everyone on this member list makes this happen. Seriously, if you've ever enjoyed anything we've done, think about membership. That'd be great. But more importantly, just thank the people that have been willing to help support the channel. It goes a long way. All right. So we are now 2 tours into a 3-tour celebration. We got the Blue Lake that we thought we would get. We're still not sure if we'll get the Autumn tour, this Nitro tour coming up here, but a lot to digest. We finally got to our Red Vampire Flyer. We got a lot of other freebies, new drivers, reward for placing a high ranked reward. Obviously, that was our good friend PD Gold version, and then we'll have a lot to come up in this next. But it does look like it does say Kart Pro active. That is no longer active. First off, Antilev, this is our first time actually doing battle mode in multiplayer. What was your thoughts as you were getting into the trenches? Oh no, Antilev, can't hear you, bud.
Oh, sorry, I had my microphone on mute. No, I like it a lot. It's actually, I enjoy it way more than the multiplayer races. It's like actually enjoyable and not a chore, and it's way better than the single player battle mode. So I'm really having fun. It's only the 3rd day of the tour is out. I've already grinded my main up to S rank, and my free to play I'm up to C rank, trying to get to A there. But I'm having a blast. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I hadn't actually played the battle mode with like random people, but I've had 2 different like hour-long battle parties with members and viewers. So that was an absolute blast. Probably my favorite time playing Mario Kart Tour in probably months. So for me, that was so rewarding. I hadn't even gotten into trying to improve ranked, but that ranked level for the multiplayer battle mode. But I had so much fun. It was an absolute blast. I'm really excited about where this game is going when it comes to battle mode. So we'll see how it goes from there. But overall, very, very impressed with that. In fact, I probably have played more that way of playing than I have actual single player for ranked or anything. But we have 2 new drivers. I'll start with the less significant one. That's the Dry Bones Me racing suit. Anything you want to mention about its starting overlap and coverage right now? It just starts with a lot of Ghost Valleys and Donut Plains.
I mean, yeah, it's okay. It's got, I would say, 3 quality courses, 3 quality courses, and then 3 older courses. But let's be honest, with the skill and the coverage and the overlap, if you're buying this, you're buying it for the base point boost and not because you think it's going to be an interesting driver to invest in. So let's look at maybe what an overlap is. 4 overlaps with Rosalina Halloween, 3 overlaps with Gold PD Piranha, and 3 overlaps with King Boo Luigi's Mansion. There are also a number of plus skill drivers, but it overlaps 2 times with Gold Bob-omb, Dry Bones Gold, Gold Chuck or Chuck Box, as I like to call it.
And, I like it.
And Bronze Me Racing Suit. But yeah, really, I don't think there's a point to spending a lot of time on this one because it's mostly going to be there for the base points.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And to move from an anticlimactic brand new driver to one that shook up the game in a brand new way, this PD Piranha Gold. Talk to us a little bit about its starting coverage and specifically some of the crazy tracks it has when it comes to Ghost Valley, and there's a lot of overlap with Coinbox drivers, but overall he's a beast.
Yeah, so this is an interesting tour because we have the 45 tracks, but because we have 10 new tracks, which are all in there twice, and then we also have a Cookie Land, which is repeating from last tour, which is also there twice. There's actually only 34 individual unique tracks. So there's 24 mostly older retros. I think the only one of those 24 that is a newer one is Ghost Valley 2, and everything else is like relatively old. And then we got the 10 new ones, so there's kind of a big split in value between, hey, did it get buffed on some of these 5 older courses, or Ghost Valley 2, or any of the 10 new tracks. So if you look at his splits, he's got 4 and 4, so it's not like the greatest start ever. He's got 2 Maple Treeways, R and RT. He's got SNES Rainbow Road RT, and he's got Airship Fortress RT. He's got 5 of his 8 tracks, his starting 8 tracks are RTs. Now, previously we would say that's kind of bad because RTs are worth less, but actually the way I think our model is going, RTs are going to be worth the most because they're appearing equally in the last 2 tours to regular and RNT tracks, but then they're also the most common in ranked. So if you take those 2 things together, RTs are actually going to be the most valuable coverage. So that's actually a bonus. I mean, they look at his other starting tracks. He's got Ghost Valley 2R, which he shares with a couple of Coinbox drivers and a couple of other plus skills. He's got Maple Treeway R, which is a nice one, except for Gold King Boo. He's the only heavy there. He's got Ghost Valley 2, which is, I guess, a Coinbox exclusive for him, but that's a level 8 unlock. And then he's got 2 tracks where he is not only the only Coinbox driver, but he's also the only plus skill driver. So starting with, I guess, 3 exclusives. I didn't quite. I thought I had him down to 2 exclusives. But anyways, at least 2 skill tracks where he's the only plus skill at all in Bootleg RT and Ghost Valley 2 RT. So that's like a really interesting start for him, potentially very valuable. I'm not sure, to be honest, how it's going to go. We haven't had a Coinbox driver as a ranked reward, and the ranked rewards in general have been kind of lackluster, but we've only had really like Karts. And some of the more recent ones have been okay. Like Watermelon Kart has actually had pretty good coverage. Looks like the Gold Sweet Ride, I think it was a Gold Pass, or was that anyways, I think it's really difficult. I think if you have the ability to get him in week 1, you should really invest hard and go for it, especially just because week 2, the options on Bootleg RT are very bad if you don't have him. I think it's probably a pretty safe one to invest in right away if you do get him. So I'm not saying he's got a fantastic start, but it is another heavy Coinbox driver, and he's got some very fascinating tracks. I would say more like he's got some good quality tracks instead of having a lot of good tracks.
So who should invest in them and who shouldn't? I mean, are there specific styles of play or who you invested in that you should stay away from them?
Honestly, it's a pretty safe investment for anyone. I would say maybe if you've gone pretty hard on the recent Coinbox drivers like King Mario, Gold Charging Chuck, to a lesser extent Ty Daisy, maybe you want to hold off a bit because these are being released so close to one another that there's a good chance they will see a lot of overlap. He already has 2 overlaps for Charging Chuck. He already has an overlap with King Mario. So in that sense, it could be the case, but it's still very early. We don't know. And I mean, the fact that he already has 2 exclusives where there's not even another plus skill driver is a really, really good and strong sign. That's a sign from Nintendo that they're going to, pay attention to this driver and give them some value. When you see them getting exclusives like that, it's always a good sign.
Now, both of the other PDs have been pretty, both the regular and the me suit have been pretty strong. Do you feel like that's that they're going to continue that, or do you think that because they kind of buff the, how like the reverse psychology of, hey, they're giving all these buffs to the other, you're making the other ones really strong, that this one's not going to be quite as strong? Any suspect there?
Well, I would say that regular PD is fantastic, and he's really climbing up the rankings really hard. I would say the PD Piranha Misu has been a little bit less impressive. It's just not getting really that many buffs, and the buffs it's getting are not really that good. It just doesn't have a lot of tracks right now. So I don't know. I mean, they're making gold items. Seems like gold drivers with coin bucks, quality recently. So I would say it's a pretty safe investment, honestly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking it to level 3 or 4 if you're like a lower player, like maybe level 6 if you're more a heavy spender or whatever, for next week ranked anyways. I mean, the thing is, if you invest in it now, you're going to get value out of it for next week ranked, because there's no other good option on a couple of these tracks.
Yeah, he at level 6 has 2 tracks next week for ranked, and so
yeah, exactly.
If you don't get him week 1, it's going to be really hard to get him week 2, because everyone who got him week 1 is using him week 2. So
exactly,
it's going to be really tough if you don't get him week 1. So my for those people who kind of like to ride the wave and like to go get first, second, third, and then kind of dip down and underbake the second week or whatever, just don't wait till week 2 to try to get him. Is my personal recommendation for you.
Yeah. I hope I'm not making my own competition any more difficult by saying that. But I mean, because this is basically what I've decided to do with my free-to-play ranked, is I'm investing quite hard on week 1, just because my loadouts on week 2 are really bad. Week 2 loadouts or week 2 tracks are really tough. It's all 3 new tracks. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult week 2. I mean, maybe it will be difficult for everybody week 2, but the main, I think, difference is that a lot of people, you will be up against people who, like you said, have won the PD suit in the gold PD Piranha in week 1, and then they will have a big advantage on the driver's side over you. So yeah.
Yep, we'll see how it goes, but good luck to all of those who are trying to get him week 1. It's going to be some stiff competition, but you guys are up for the challenge. I know that. Let's move on to some of the other new items, including the gold trickster overlap. Obviously, it has plenty of these ghost valleys for obvious reasons. It's got a nice big hitbox, but these gold carts. These gold carts, typically they're renders that are a little tinier. If you think about like gold egg and gold, just about all of them are a little tinier than usual. So it's rare to have like a giant hitbox and a gold item. But what are your thoughts on the gold trickster's starting value?
It's intriguing. My first reaction for these gold pass gifts is always kind of just like, oh, just another crappy gold card. But it's actually not that bad. I mean, it has, first of all, it is a big card. Trickster has got a very, very nice hitbox. It's starting with 9 tracks. It's got some new tracks. It's got some old tracks. It's got more good quality tracks than I would have expected from a gold pass gift. It's going to be in ranked 1, 2, 3 times. Wow. 4 times at least, actually. So that's crazy.
That's pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
And out of the 9 tracks, it has only, I think, 3 of them are older tracks. So yeah, that's so I even made that notes here somewhere, that it actually has a pretty strong set of starting tracks. So I would say maybe take your bias out, and if you have gold pass and you get it and you need it for ranked, it's not the worst gamble actually. I was helping Carlos going for top 10 ACR this tour, and I was helping him with his inventory, and it was kept on coming up like we're not going to invest in a gold card. It's not, it's just bad for your account. But it kept coming up as like one of the best things to invest in. I was like, okay, yeah, fine, sure. So I'm not going to invest in it myself this early, but it's definitely one I will keep an eye on, and I hope it will be good. because it looks really cool.
It does look pretty cool. I will say, I mentioned this on my tour reveal, but a lot more people watch the rundown. One of the things that's unique about Nintendo and what they've done recently by taking away these pipes and the rubies, pulling for pipes, is that they're trying to take this game to more players, and so they're kind of like, instead of, because I think what happened is that they were putting all of the revenue, hoping to get it from the same whales, and so when a whale would drop out, that's X amount of revenue that they're losing, and then you have these countries you can't go into because of the laws around the gacha games. So one of the thoughts I have, and if you're watching and this game was just released in your country, please let us know. But one of my thoughts were, and I think instead of trying to get all the revenue from the 80-20 rule, and trying to get like 80% of the revenue from the top 20%, I think their goal is to kind of bring it to new countries and get the revenue from Gold Pass. And so I think they're trying to make the Gold Pass and getting Gold Pass in general to be more attractive, and try to get more players get Gold Pass. And that to try to compensate for the revenue that they're losing from all these whales kind of dropping off and slowly over time. So in my perspective is that this is something that they want, and maybe this is their way to do that. Maybe this is like their shiny new carrot that they're putting out there to say, hey, you need Gold Pass. I know that you're free to play. You're probably playing around with that week or month, that free month that we have for you. This is the time to get it. Get Gold Pass. You'll realize your value, and then hopefully you stay hooked. So that's my personal thought processes on kind of coming out of this gacha phase and moving into this new world, this new era. We don't have like the paywalled items from items that are in packs. So how do they reward people? Probably from getting Gold Pass, maybe from getting items from Ranked. These are like the items now that seem to have maybe a little bit more elevated value than things you could get rubies from the Spotlight shop. So just thinking outside the box, maybe maybe this is a new era, and maybe gold items might be good finally, at least when it comes to carts. The other aspect of this new era is are commemorative items finally going to be good. So I think we've had some years of commemorative items being absolute duds, but we're starting with this Streety. Tell us a little about the Streety and its overlap with other carts.
Well, first thing I'll say about this Streetle is that it's extremely small. It's a very, very small card. It's one of the smallest cards in the game. I haven't bought it, but that's what I've been reported to me by others. So maybe it could be an interesting multiplayer card. It's got Jump Boost Plus, so you can use it on trick tracks in multiplayer. For single player, probably won't be that great because of the small hitbox. It's overlapping. It's starting with 9 tracks. Decent starting tracks, a couple, again, some old ones, some new ones. I think it starts with 4 older tracks and 4 new ones, and then also a battle course, so kind of split there. It's starting with 9 tracks. It's got 5 overlaps with a gold trickster, 4 overlaps with a red vampire flyer, 3 overlaps with regular vampire flyer, and 3 overlaps with tuk tuk cart, and also with pumpkin cart. But yeah, that's I didn't buy it. I'm not gonna buy it. I don't need any small cards. But it's I'm kind of neutral on it. I don't know if it'll be good or bad.
All right, fair enough. The red vampire flyer. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the original vampire flyer. The red one looks a little too Spider-Man-y to be honest with you for me. But overall, it's still got the big hitbox. Tell us a little bit about its starting coverage.
Yeah, so also starting with 9 tracks, and it's got again like a mix of like old and new ones, but I think it has only 3 older tracks. Luigi's Mansion RT, Ghost Valley 1, and Airship Fortress RT, and then the rest are like newer tracks. A couple of Ghost Valley 2s, 3 of those, Bootleg R, Bootleg RT, and then finally it's got the new battle course Twilight House as its 9th track. So pretty solid start there. It's got 4 overlaps with Streetle, 4 with Gold Trickster, both 2 other new cards, 3 overlaps with Shielded Speedster, 3 overlaps with Red Offroader, 3 with Queen Bee, 3 with Orange Streamliner, 3 with Magma Broom, and 3 with Gold Double Decker. It'll be an interesting one. Again, it's a ranked reward, so who knows how good they'll let it get. But again, it starts with a nice advantage that it has pretty strong starting tracks and a very big hitbox.
Yeah, you gotta love that hitbox. Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. We'll see. Again, these ranked rewards might be where it's at. We'll see what happens as it goes forward. The other item that's new, the only glider that's new, but it obviously is there as a spotlight in this week 1 spotlight shop. The Silver Candlelight Flight. Now, obviously, we know that the original Candlelight Flight was a meta king this past year, but I'm curious how the Silver Starlight, the cake version was not quite as glamorous, but where will Silver line up? Will it be as atrocious as the cake version, or as glorious as the original?
The cake version I think was hampered quite a bit by its start. It came out in a Nitro tour with the. Or it came out in an all city tour, right? In the Metropolitan tour. So that's, those items are always kind of behind the 8 ball. So I think that's what's holding that back. And the regular Candlelight Flight is great. The start on this one is pretty good. 3 older tracks, 5 newer tracks, plus the battle course. I bought it. It doesn't really add anything for me right now, but it just looks so amazing, and I like lightning gliders. So I bought one. I'm gonna keep it, and hopefully it gets some buffs that I can be convinced to invest in it. But yeah, overlap wise, it doesn't have a ton of overlaps. But of its 9 starting tracks, it has only 4 items that overlaps 3 times, and that's Vampire Wings, Boom Masks, Black Starchute, and Black Cat Parafoil.
Very nice. Well, cool. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Are you going to get this Candlelight Flight or anything new here that you can use rubies on?
I bought this. I bought the Silver Candlelight Flight.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the only thing I've bought so far on my main account. I bought a couple of carts on my free-to-play account. One because I need it for ranked, and the other one because it's just the best card for my account right now. But as far as the new items are concerned, no, I'm not really gonna go for that on that account. There's not much to convincing me to spend my rubies in the Spotlight Shop at the moment.
All right, fair enough. Talking about the Spotlight Shop, you might have seen this a couple days early, but I wanted to get it out into your hands. This is the Daily Spotlight Shop version 2.0. Put out 1.0 and had a couple changes I wanted to make. Most notably was missing, I think, Dr. Mario or Dr. Peach, and so I wanted to add those. But I think what the main goal was to kind of give people a cheat sheet, a little glimpse into what's going on here with these spotlight items, and give them an idea of what's out there. Now, I think a lot of people say, should I get this or should I get that? I will say, everything on this list, I would highly, 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 highly recommend you putting any of these items into your spreadsheet, into your trackers, and identify if these items would be good for you. And specifically aim for like 3, 4, 5 tracks if something can give you, depending on your size of whale. But yeah, if someone gives you 5 tracks, go ahead and get it. It's going to help your account. Now, I have personally given a soft nudge to some items I think would be good for you to research, and might, if you don't have it at level 1, to think about purchasing. Again, it all depends on your account. Every account's different. So I even thought about, should I even do this or not? But I think in general, people want to know, what are some items that would be good to get at level 1? What would be some items that are good to have? So, and I know from tossing some to your way, I know that we disagree on some, but I also want to designate a little bit about what these weights mean and the percentages. And so, in general, I think like if you think about the algorithm, what we do with our top 10, that number 1 item is set at 100%. So, in some ways you kind of think about that as the weight 100 here, but there are percentages of what that item would show up in one of the spots there. So, I know it's kind of tough to do the math, and there's a Turtle Dude put together a good kind of how many days you have left, by how many slots, by how many items. It can give you pretty good odds. I mean, overall, I think that doesn't really matter that much, in my opinion, because there's some people that I think about Nugsy, who's been waiting for the Lightning Streamliner for, and just yourself as well, Antelope, been waiting for a week and haven't seen it.
I just got it today. So I'm on my 28th reroll of the shop. Like, I've seen 28 shops, and I got the Lightning Streamliner today. So I was for Nugsy and all the other people who are waiting for one specific item, unless it's a gold item, I would say just be patient, keep the faith.
We also had another member in our server who I think saw it 8 times. So again, don't worry too much about the odds. The odds are going to be all over the board. So don't worry too much about that. But in general, it kind of gives you an idea of what's out there. And I think if you haven't seen it yet and you really want something, go ahead and do a reroll. Kind of use that quick ticket to see something you want, but don't get too hung up on the values. I think that's one of the things I had a lot of people kind of saying, "Hey, well, you should do it percentages of the per day or how many slots are available." I'm like, guys, just know that these top items, these kind of think of them as like the featured items. These are going to show up a lot, twice as much as the other items in there. In fact, and then there's like a teeny tiny odds of you getting these gold items. So I just want to, that's the way that it's shown also to me through the data miner. So huge shout out to Sam78IT who gave us this data. But ultimately, just know that something is going to show up twice as much as something else. This is stuff, this middle tier is all ranked stuff. So these are going to fluctuate from tour to tour. One of the comments I got was, hey, it's nice to know this stuff, but I want to know if something's new, if something was not there last tour and is here this tour. So I put on the word new. Let us know if that's too distracting or if that doesn't help you. But one person asked for it, so I decided to put it in there. But ultimately, this kind of gives you a high-level overview of what's going on. Just know that some stuff this top row is gonna show up much more frequently. So if you want it, it'll come back around. You don't have to worry about day one making that decision. This middle tier is going to pop up a variety of these are going to show up. Some of them may not show up at all. Some of them might show up every single day. And these gold items, if you see one, it's much more rare. So if you get it, if you see it and you want it, don't wait, get it. So specifically, the hottest one everyone's been talking about is Gold Charging Chuck. As you remember, that special pipe was absolutely bonkers. Many people put hundreds of rubies to try to get him. And then here he is here. Now here's the thing. It's a very minute percent. So the chance of him showing up in one of your items is like less than 1/3% in one of the items. Now, even with all of the slots and everything, it's going to be really rare. So just know that, like, hey, yeah, we kind of got screwed that for those who put so much rubies into him. But you might go months if he stays in there. You might go months without seeing him. So just know, yeah, he might be in there, but don't get your hopes up. I have seen a lot of people excited to share that they got him, but it is what it is. Now, I'd love to get your feedback and to Lev on which items you would disagree with. I put my little Studfit studs on P Piranha, Mario's Samurai, Pink Eye, Shagai Ninja, White Tanuki Mario. I know Sunshine Mario was probably one on my edge, but I just kind of basically put it on the top skills. My goal is that I'm going to help the newer players. That's one of my focal points for the year is like, hey, if somebody doesn't know anything about the game, they could be really overwhelmed with everything that's going on. So I think for a newer player, and again, all of these Studfit logos with the ruby color are if you don't have it at all. So I think if you don't have them at all, he could be worth 150 rubies. It's really up to you. I would definitely check out the tracker, but he's a plus skill. His coverage is very weak. I think he ranks like over like in the hundreds. So he's not like a must-have player. But if you don't have him, and you kind of like the way he looks, you like his swagger, take a look at him. But overall, I don't think everyone should be getting him. So again, I just wanted to determine what that looks like. And then I put DK Junior SNES. He's got really good coverage, an above average skill, but not a great skill. So those are what I put for the drivers. And then of course, I put all the Coinbox drivers on there. I think if you don't have if you don't have this Coinbox driver, at least level 1, it's worth getting. I know you had a couple things you wanted to point out there when it came to some of these Coinbox drivers. And then for Karts, I kind of try to put them on the same row, but you have the Warrior Wagon, Tropical Truck, the Prop Cart, the Lightning Streamliner, Jukebox Buggy, White Bruiser. I put the Magna Broom, Coral Jet Cruiser, Cact R, and the green and yellow capsule carts for the carts. Oh, and then of course the strawberry soft swerve. So those were all I put for the carts. I did throw the gold pumpkin card in there because it does pair really well with a lot of top meta items. But it's got a small hitbox and it's not a must-have. So just kind of wanted to throw it in there because I don't know when the next time it'll come in. It's kind of interesting that it's so frequent this tour. But once this tour is over, I don't know if it'll come back in. And then for gliders, I put the 1-up One Up Mushroom, the Fire Flower, 8-Bit, the Black Rate Sail, Sakura Origami Glider, and the Vanilla and Chocolate, I think that's what it's called, Vanilla Chocolate ice cream thing there. And then Gold Crane and Golden Wing. So what are your thoughts on what you would recommend as you're approaching your shop every day, Antlov? How are you looking at this? How should someone who is new versus someone who's established approach the Spotlight Shop? It's one of the hottest topics in the game right now.
Okay, so I have two accounts. I've got my main account, which is like pretty pay to win, and I've got my free to play account. My main account, I mostly going to focus on buying new items, because most of the items there's no real drivers, cars, or gliders that I don't have that I really want, you know? I mean, like I don't know if King Mario, maybe I want to get him. If I have the opportunity to just kind of get him in stash, I will. But there's not like specific items where like, oh, I need that. It's going to be a huge boost to my account. So I'm just I'm actually having a hard time deciding what to do with my rubies in my main account, and they're kind of starting to pile up. My free-to-play account, I'm really only identifying new items, which give me a huge boost. So the two items I bought this to are Lightning Streamliner, which I've been waiting for a long time. I don't need it for ranked. It is in ranked week 2, but I have another car, I think Red Offroader, on the track that it's on. But it is it is, for me, I think the best overall card to add value to my account. Just the tracks it covers where I have weak coverage or no top shelf. So I've been waiting for it all last tour. I didn't get it, even though I reset the shop a bunch of times. And then finally I got it this tour. I got it today.
Nice.
And then I got the Tropical Truck because it's also a decent one for my account, and I need it for ranked. I didn't have a top shelf card on a bootleg end, so that's going to be kind of the way I look for my free-to-play accounts. I want to add new items. I don't want to buy older items because I want to get stuff that has a better chance of being in ranked. I want to buy stuff that has a better chance of getting new buffs. So, you know, when I see items like Gold Dry Bones or Gold Koopa, like, especially if you're not a heavy spender, if you're not Gold Pass, or you're not buying the premium challenge packs, and you have a limited number of tickets to upgrade your items with, there is no point to buy a driver, especially, or a cart, if you're planning just to leave it at level 1. I mean, a lot of cases, a level 1 driver will be outperformed or at least be equaled by a mid-shelf coin box or boomerang driver. So in that sense, I don't like to buy items that I don't plan to invest in. And one other comment about the weights. I see a lot of people who are putting 150 rubies aside and waiting for Gold Chuck. That's not necessarily a bad plan, because he's one of the most valuable drivers right now. But the chances of getting him are very low. So like Studfit said, it's a 0.27% chance for any specific gold driver to show up in one slot. So that translates to about 1.6% chance that you'll see any one of those that you'll see Gold Chuck on any given day, and roughly 20% chance that you will see him in an entire tour. 14 spotlight shops. Now, if you would reset the shop, say like 10 times, that goes up to about a 32% chance, but it's still less than 1/3 chance you will see any specific driver the entire tour. So if you are holding on to 150 rubies and another item comes up that's really good for you, I would say you don't need to always be, saving. Don't forego a great item because you're hoping to get something else that has like a really low probability of showing up. That's what I'm thinking about these gold things. So if there's items which I would add to this list, especially for new players, maybe for drivers, I would consider putting not Cat Peach, but Dr. Peach in there. I know it kind of goes against what we're doing here, but she has really great coverage for a non-top skill driver. And if your account is new, she might just give you some coverage where you don't have top shelves. Because there's a lot of tracks and a lot of new tracks, high quality tracks. I would maybe pick her instead of Donkey Kong Jr., even though he's got a ton of tracks as well. But I mean, they're older tracks. And I think she offers a bit better value right now. For Karts, I actually mostly agree with the selection Studfit made. Maybe one I would add is the Coconut one. It's a small hitbox, but it does have like good coverage. Okay. Right. And yeah, I mean, it's really up to you about the broom. If you can deal with brooms, it does have it is a great kart in terms of coverage on paper. But yeah, if you don't like brooms, then ignore it. But otherwise, I'm pretty in agreement with your kart selections, and for gliders as well. One I would add there for sure is the mint and berry balloons. That's going to be. There's a really good glider already, and I think it's going to get better. Maybe Gold Crane, because it's kind of an older one. It used to be great, but it's maybe not what it used to be. Maybe you could take Gold Crane off there, but for the most part, I think you nailed it.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Let us know what feedback you have. One of the goals would be to do this very, very quickly once the tour is released, thanks to Sam IT and what he does on the data mining. So this is a fluid. I'm willing to make changes to this to what the community wants, because I want this to be something people look forward to and kind of a sheet that they look forward to. Talking about Dr. Peach, shout out to Draco, who hit 1,000 subscribers this past week. You'll notice I'm wearing my Matt Aldridge shirt that I'm supporting one of our members, Matt Aldridge. If you haven't subscribed to Draco655 or Matt Aldridge, the link will be in the description. We'd love for you to just support the other awesome up-and-coming content creators. So in case you're wondering what the logo was, it's our good friend Matt. Good, let's get into the buffs. So there are a lot of buffs this tour. I try to put them all together. I try to condense it too, so that when I post these to Reddit, all these slides will be on Reddit by the end of whenever you're watching this. And the goal is that you can zoom in and look at things more in detail. It helps you study things as well. And thanks again to Larry98, who helps put together this awesome looking, almost baseball card-esque style here. But we have 5 drivers with 3 buffs, including Luigi Knight, the Chain Chomp Me Racing Suit, Peach Halloween, Mario Halloween, and Castle Me Racing Suit. Obviously, Luigi Knight, really happy to see him get some nice buffs. He's number 12 on our list. He's got 4 cities, of course, but already has, it looks like 16 assumed tracks. That's phenomenal. Mario Halloween, he's obviously featured this tour. He's heavily used. I'm using him on 2 tracks, which is crazy because I only have him at level 6, but he's got some nice ranked tracks, and it's kind of fun to use some of these drivers. They have a top skill, but we haven't used in a while. I'm thinking like classic Luigi or Mario Halloween, who was in our top 10 like 2 years ago, which was funny to think back about. But the big driver, they got all the big buffs. That's our King Boo's Luigi Mansion. So shout out to Crazy, as well as Wootmoo, who have invested in this guy. This is like one of their favorite drivers. I know the Halloween items for Wootmoo is a big deal between that and Rosalina Halloween, but it got 4 big buffs. These are buffs that are in ranked, and he's all over the place. If you're looking for all cup ranking and you like this guy, you can invest in him. I would say that if you're a new player, don't read this slide and think, oh my gosh, I should invest in King Boo's Luigi Mansion. No, this is just a nice little pat on the back to our little brother that we've neglected for the last 2.5 years. So it's nice to see that they gave him some buffs. So if you've already invested in him, you're happy to see him there. But certainly by no means is he someone you should go out and try to get and level up. As for the drivers with 2 buffs, I'd say really this top row is really the key buffs here when it comes to PD Piranha getting Boo Lake and Boo Lake R. You got Charging Chuck Gold getting the SNES Donut Plains 3T, and the Rainbow Road RT, not quite as great, but very happy to see the Donut Plains 3T. Then for White Tanuki Mario, he came out a pretty good one here at this tour, getting the Boo Lake and the SNES Donut Plains 3 RT. And then as Anslev alluded to, Dr. Peach had some nice buffs here too with Donut Plains 3R and Donut Plains 3T. I will say just a couple others that I'm pointing out a little lower just to kind of be aware of what's going on for them. King Boo's Me Racing Suit, one of the Me suits that's really strong value. You see, I've already seen a lot of whales level him up. I saw Carlos do it. Zephiel's done it. A lot of top players have taken him to level 7, level 8, double uncap, triple uncap, because he's really strong. But he gets Boo Lake and Boo Lake T. And then King Mario, of course, everyone opened up their app and went to see what happened to our little king here. You got Boo Lake and the Rainbow Road RT. Not so happy with that RT, but the Boo Lake is a strong. Again, you want the flat courses. You want these courses that are hard to keep combo. Overall, it's a good track to have Coinbox, in my opinion. But it's what are your thoughts on all these drivers that got 2, 3, and 4 buffs?
So yeah, we could spend a long time talking about the buffs this tour because we have 278 retro buffs. So that's not including the tracks given to new items, and it's not including. It's only including buffs on existing items. 236 of this, and this is the most buffs we've ever had in a tour before. So this is so when you see the rankings later and everything is going completely crazy, this is why it's a huge shakeup, because the new tracks are always most valuable. At 236 of the 278 are on the 10 new tracks. You only have 42 buffs on the 24 returning tracks. That's actually one of the things that was most interesting to me about this tour. A lot of these old tracks didn't get touched. Actually, we have 24 returning tracks on 6 courses: Airship Fortress, Ghost Valley 1 and 2, Luigi's Mansion, Maple Treeway, and SNES Rainbow Road. 10 of those 24 get absolutely no buffs whatsoever. So that's a lot of tracks which we haven't maybe seen for quite some time. Coming back and like Luigi's Mansion, only the RT got any buffs at all. N, R, and T versions got completely left alone. Airship Fortress N and R, no buffs. SNES Rainbow Road N and R, no buffs. So really, we're looking at all the buffs on the 10 new tracks. I will start off by saying, like, something I like to do is look at what are the single most valuable buffs in this tour. And it's always drivers, and it's usually exclusive. So the top 5 most valuable buffs in this tour. Charging Chuck Gold has the most valuable buff. You got Donut Plains 3T, which is an exclusive, and it's in ranked. So that's basically, that's about as good as it can get. That's just like, a combo bonus. King Mario got the second most valuable buff. He got Boo Lake, which is also exclusive, which is also ranked. It's worth slightly less than Charging Chuck because Mario is a medium and Chuck is a heavy. So there's like a slightly different multiplier there. Heavies get like a little bit of a bonus.
And for those just to help those new players, so every driver is either heavy, medium, or small, and that impacts blows up the carts either based to fit their size. Yeah. So we always prioritize heavy hitbox of the coin box drivers specifically. So these would be, PD Piranha Gold is one of those, Gold Charging Chuck, Meowser, these kind of things. Whereas, then you have the medium, which would be Mario,
the Mario alts, the Peach alts,
Yep, and then you have the small, which would be like Dry Bones Gold and Goopa, Gold Goopa free running. So just put that in the back of your mind. Sometimes the more established players will say, I'm not investing in Dry Bones Gold because of his hitbox, talking about the small, and that's why they'd be saying that. So I always want to make sure to clear the air for the newer players.
That's a good point. So those buffs from Charging Chuck and Mario King, those are, just to give you some context, if we take an average older driver and older course, more than a year old, and a driver which is more than a year old, and not like a plus skill or exclusive or anything, these buffs on their own are worth about 3.5 times worth like a normal older course. So there's huge value for these drivers. And moving on, the third most valuable buff is PD Piranha Gold. It's not really a buff because he's a new item, but I still thought I'd put it in there. Boo Lake RT, that's worth just a bit over triple the amount of an older track. And then we've got a regular PD Piranha on Boo Lake R that's worth about 2.75 times 2 3/4 times an older normal track. And then the main reason why is because he's a little bit older and that track is not ranked. And then finally Ty Daisy got a buff on Donut Plains 3R, and that's the 5th most valuable, and that's just a slightly less than PD Piranha's buff. Same reason, it's another exclusive, but it's not in ranked. But it's the thing about all these top 5 buff values, they're drivers with plus skills, they're exclusives, meaning they're the only plus skill or the only coin box driver on that track, and they're in ranked maybe, but they're a new track. So all of those things together makes the track like really valuable. So to give you an idea what kind of things the model looks for to give the most value. So looking at the drivers on this page, who I want to talk about, Luigi Knight, 3 buffs. Unfortunately, only one of them is a new track, so that was like a little bit disappointing. But he has a lot of tracks already, 16 tracks, and he's still very new. King Mario, I think the King Mario fans might be a little disappointed with this because he was sitting, I think, only at 5 assumed tracks, and now he's up to 7. One of them is a great buff. It's Boo Lake N. and it's an exclusive. So like I said, it's the second most valuable buff this entire tour out of 278. The other one is Rainbow Road RT. There are now 8 Coinbox drivers top shelves on SNES Rainbow Road RT. So that is not a valuable buff, unfortunately for him. I think King Mario fans would have liked to see better quality tracks and or more tracks. He really needs to get more buffs to kind of overcome his all city start. Gold Chuck, we already talked about him. He also got Rainbow Road RT, so that's disappointing, but his other buff is, so he kind of got the same buff as Mario King, but the thing is he was already, he doesn't need the buffs as badly as King Mario does. After that we got PD Piranha, got both 2 great buffs, got Bootleg N and Bootleg R. One is a plus skill exclusive, that's Bootleg R, and the other one is in rank, so super valuable buffs for PD Piranha, and he is up in the rankings accordingly. King Boo Misut also some great buffs, Bootleg N and T. First one is in ranked, and he's also in ranked on Maple Treeway RT, so 2 times first week ranked. White Tanuki Mario, also 2 great buffs, 2 new tracks, and 1 is in ranked, and the other one is like really hard paywall. Donut Play 3 RT is a really tough track to cover. Dr. Peach, she got 2 buffs, best non-plus skill driver in the game right now. And finally, Halloween Mario. I don't own Halloween Mario, and I don't miss owning him. But he got 3 nice buffs.
He's coming in handy for me, at least this tour, even though he was kind of one of those guys that whether you're pulling for King Mario or somebody else, you kind of got him along the way. I will say, to kind of go back to your point of like these, we saw what you said, 24 tracks that got 0 buffs. Like you would have hoped Mario King would have gotten one of those. He would have walked away the tour getting 4 buffs or something. Like that's
just give him a Luigi's Mansion or give him a Maple Treeway or something,
So it makes, because I think his like number of seen tracks jumped from or fell from like 300 or something down to like 100, and only walked away with 2 buffs. Like that's pretty insane.
It wasn't this new. You want him to be getting like I know it sounds greedy that he got 2 buffs or like it's not enough, but he got 5 buffs last tour. You really wanted him to be getting like 3 or 4 buffs this tour and kind of bring him up to I want to see him after like 4 or 5 tours at like the 15 track mark. So he's gonna to give him a chance of becoming decent. We'll see.
What's interesting is that I was thinking about this past week. I know your strategy has always been to wait X amount of weeks before pulling the trigger on something. Unless you're going for top 10, you're not going to make an early investment. It's weird because that's basically when items are starting to enter the spotlight shop. So it kind of gives us some time to kind of wait and see, and then it'll come back in the spotlight shop, and then we can make our decision then. So I almost kind of feel that way about like all of the brand new items, like the silver Candlelight Flight. My thought process is, by the time it hits the spotlight shop, I know it's the same price, but by the time it hits the spotlight shop, we can actually know what's going on with it too. So you don't have to feel like you got to rush out and get it versus getting stuff that will help your account right away. Cool. Let's talk about the rest of the buffs. There's a lot to get to here, and as we talked about, there's so many buffs we need to move forward for based on time. But I'll kind of hit this top row. We got the question mark block suit getting the Rainbow Road RT. Again, that's kind of a miss for him. Obviously, he does have that advantage. Both he and the gold Mii Racing suit. I can't say enough how important that having the Mii bonuses and what that could do for your account. So, for instance, there are a lot of coin boxers on this track, but him having it, he's the best option by far, like thousands of points better. So I know people are like, well, Meowser or somebody else might have a bigger hitbox. Charging Chuck Gold will have a bigger hitbox than him. It doesn't matter. The base points are so absurd. He is the best option on this track. And if everyone's using somebody else and you're using him, you're going to score more than your opponents just by having him as a Misu. With that being said, Meowser gets the battle track, the Twilight House, which I love the track, by the way. But any buffs you're getting on the battle courses, you're not as impressed with. But this cup specifically, I saw a number of people get over 200,000 points on this cup, thanks to Meowser and this Twilight House. Having a coin box driver on these battle courses for all cup ranking is absolute beast. And then we talked about Daisy Tidress. Although she only got 1 buff, it was a great buff. So in some ways, like talked about Mario getting 2 buffs. 1 was good, 1 was bad. Gold Charging Chuck getting 1 good, 1 bad. Here's Daisy, just getting the good one, not even getting the crappy one. So she obviously, you count that as a win, but she has 18 assumed tracks, 5 cities, number 6 on our list. And then Chef Rosalina gets a great track here, Donut Plains, 3 RT. I have her and White Tanuki Mario at level 1 on this track, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to make a decision for ranked. Which person I'm going to put tickets on. Actually, that might not be a ranked track, but I'm going to either way have to put some tickets on one of them. And then Quebec gets, of course, a that Twilight House, that battle mode track. And then we got, that's probably actually all I'll talk about for those first 2 rows. I'll skip down. I will say Dry Bowser Gold, Dry Bowser Gold gets this Ghost Valley 2 RT, which a lot of people are using. Good for him. That's nice to see some of these old drivers that we invested in early get this track. Then nothing else really I really want to talk about other than maybe Mario Sunshine getting this Donut Plains 3T. It's an awesome buff for an awesome driver, or formerly awesome driver, that we don't get to use very often, so it's really cool to use him. But Anton, anything you want to mention about these drivers with one buff?
Yeah, more or less when I touched on the same ones that you touched on, Rosalina Chef getting Donut Plains 3RT. It's not quite an exclusive, but it's close because only, I think, White Tanuki Mario. So she doesn't get credit in the model for it, but it is a very difficult paywall track, and there's no other plus skills besides White Tanuki Mario. Ty Daisy gets the exclusive. We already mentioned that. It's one of the most valuable buffs this tour. Mario Sunshine, that's a great option for ranked in week 1. Hopefully you have him at a decent level, because the other options are not very good. Blockhead, but the thing is, him getting a buff on a track like this where there's a lot of Coinbox drivers is less of a disappointment than a regular Coinbox driver getting it, because, as you said, the base point advantages. So yes, you would have liked to see him get something else, but it's another track where he's instantly the best option. So it's still it's an okay buff for him. And the thing is, anything these Coinbox Mii suits get now are going to have value for them, I mean, because you will use them on that track. Oh, and one other thing that's interesting about this tour: gold Mii suit, silver Mii suit, bronze Mii suit, 0 buffs, and not even mid-shelf buffs. They didn't even get a mid-shelf buff in this tour. So I'm really wondering if those guys are done or not, which would be kind of disappointing because I haven't invested in any of them yet, but I'm kind of looking for an excuse to. But we had so many buffs this tour, and then the gold, silver, and bronze just absolutely completely untouched. So I thought that was kind of disappointing. And then finally, the Donkey Kong Mii Racing suit. One thing that I've been noticing about the Mii suits is that they've been getting a lot of buffs, but they've been really avoiding the plus skill Mii suits. PD Piranha Mii suit, aside from King Boo Mii suit, nothing this tour has really got buffs. So I think this one and Nabbit Mii Racing suit hasn't got anything. Gold Mii Racing, gold, silver, bronze didn't get anything. So it's nice to see the Donkey Kong Mii Racing suit. That one kind of lagged behind. A nice giant banana on a new track, which is going to be in ranked week 2, by the way. So that's a good buff for that one. Yeah, and then we got Meowser, King Boo, Gold King Boo, and Kamek on Twilight House, which is absolutely insane for Coinbox. So it's not super valuable because of the low appearance rate of battle courses, but it is super useful to have those Coinboxers on that track.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how thankful I am that we don't have a battle track in ranked again. That was pretty brutal, to be honest with you. Let's move to the Karts. The Karts with 3 buffs. We got, looks like 8 or so, and starting with this Shielded Speedster, getting the Airship Fortress RT, Luigi's Mansion RT, and then the Boo Lake R. The Magna Broom getting the Twilight House Battle Mode track, got Boo Lake, and then Boo Lake RT. The Strawberry Soft Swerve getting Donut Plains 3 RT, the Donut Plains 3T, and then the Maple Treeway T. I'll probably skip through the rest when it comes to the Karts with 3 buffs. Those are really the main 3 I want.
Not that interesting,
Yeah, I'm with you there. Karts with 2 buffs. The green yellow capsule card got the Boo Lake RT and the Boo Lake T. The Lightning Streamliner got the Airship Fortress T. But this Ghost Valley 2 RT you're really happy about. It's like literally the only option I have. I'm so glad I have it now, thanks to the Spotlight Shop. Coral Jet Cruiser does have the Donut Plains 3 and the Donut Plains 3R. The Yellow Off-Roader, nearly identical buffs as the Lightning Streamliner, with the airship, except for he got the Airship Fortress RT instead of the T, which they both seem to be kind of following each other a little bit. But the Red Off-Roader did bring her top 15. Kind of looking at which ones. Tropical Truck did get the Boo Lake and Boo Lake T. Both solid buffs there for one of actually my favorite Kart. I do see a lot of people investing in the gold Sweet Ride. I know we were just kind of talking about some of these gold carts as not being that valuable, but Donut Plains 3RT and Donut Plains 3T, solid buffs for that as well. Yeah, Antelef, talk to us a little bit about some of these top carts that got buffed.
Yeah, so Shielded Speeds are like didn't get any rank tracks, which was like a little bit disappointing. But I got 3 buffs, 1 new track and 2 older ones. But it already has like such good quality tracks, like it didn't really need a lot to put it over the top. Magma Room got some fantastic buffs. Boo Lake N and Boo Lake RT. It's the only kart to get buffed on 2 ranked tracks. So it's like by far the most valuable buffs of any kart. And also got Twilight House. And then it's Strawberry Soft Swerve. Donut Plains 3RT, Donut Plains 3T, which isn't ranked, and Maple Treeway T. That one is looking like a pretty solid one. I invested in it this week because I needed a cart for ranked. I had really low options. That was my best option. Moving down to the ones with 2 buffs. Green Yellow Capsule Cart also got some really valuable buffs. It's in ranked week 2. 2 new tracks. Coral Jet Cruiser also in ranked and 1 non-ranked. You see this a lot of these 2 buff cards. There's 1 ranked and 1 non-ranked, but Coral Jet Cruiser is looking really strong. If you're going for ACR and you have an item which is getting 2 new tracks, they're all in there twice. So 2 buffs is basically like you can use that 4 times on the new tracks. That's really useful. Red Off-Roader, like Extreme Ladder, as you said, kind of similar, 1 ranked and 1 non-ranked older track. I will say it is nice. Airship Fortress T is like a typical let's go over 300 actions track, so it'll be nice for me to finally have a triple captain cart there. I think a Watermelon cart got some really interesting buffs. 1 ranked and 1 non-ranked, 2 new tracks. So that's getting to be a kind of interesting cart. It's number 24 in spite of it being really, really tiny. So if you're not someone who cares too much about cart size, it could be one to keep an eye on. Tropical Truck, 2 new tracks, 1 ranked. Tuk Cart, same thing, 2 new tracks, 1 ranked. Those are the 2 buff items that I had my eye on.
I like it, man. It's interesting. It's always funny to see like the family of new carts, because like we saw so many capsule carts come out. And we're like, I don't know which. Like I just avoided them all. Well, and then you see one kind of take the lead and really run with it, and that would be this green yellow capsule cart.
Green yellow, yeah.
So it's kind of the same way with the brooms, right? You know, this magma broom has kind of taken over and done really, really well. You start to see these with these families. We never really saw a good streamliner. Here's the Lightning Streamliner kind of taking off. So it's interesting to see how these go. But certainly good buffs used for the carts. Then for the carts with 1 buff, the blue-green capsule cart just broke our top 15. The White Bruiser has the rank track, which is an absolute baller cart. One of my personal favorite. It's been the MVP for me, at least over the last couple months, mainly because it kept repeating a lot of the tracks that it had when I thought about Vanilla Lake and Coconut Mall and stuff like that. So it's really, really strong for me, but number 16 just outside the top 15 there. Piranha Pipes, I know it's got its own fan base there as well. It got the Boo Lake R, which is a solid track there. Coconut 1, as you referred to earlier, got this nice Donut Plains 3. Cact B, a cart that I absolutely loved, but the Boo Lake, unfortunately, I had some overlap there with the Tropical Truck. Sad to see it only got 1 buff, and that was the buff it got. It could have got buffed way more, kind of having that dark theme to it. The Flower Cart getting the Donut Plains. Again, this is a great tour to get buffs. And you see so many things just getting 1 buff. I was surprised that they kind of didn't give more things buffs. And that's why this is probably the toughest tour, in my opinion. One of the toughest tours for Top Shelf. I don't know why. It just seems like I'm like short stacked almost across the board. I wish they would have given a lot more buffs considering how many new tracks are out there. But it is what it is. And I liked what Dantilov said a couple tours ago. I think it was whenever we had the Ghost Valley come back. Ghost Valley, that track that came back, I think like a month ago, was the track that was a part of another Mario Kart Tour series. And so if you're going to bring it back, I love it. I love the fact that they bring it back as an also and versus, hey, here's another, Donut Plains tour that we need or don't need. So I'm glad that they gave us a lot of these buffs, but it's going to be tough to keep up with these coverages. And then, of course, I have to call out the Vampire Flyer getting a not good buff to Antelev's joy. Got the Twilight House. Then you got some other stuff getting the Twilight House as well. Things like Wild Black and Crawley Karts and some of these, Gilded King. Some of these ones that used to be really, really good back in the day that now are number 90 and number 81 on our list. So, Ansel, what are your thoughts on these cards with one buff?
It seems like they take these battle courses and just assign them to the older, like, Faded Glory cards. In my notes, I basically was looking at the ones that got ranked buffs, and I think you kind of touched on them all, one of the most interesting tracks. One buff just isn't really good enough. But I mean, to your point, so I'm not going to add anything to what you said because you talked about the ones already that I was going to talk about. But to add to your point, why is this tour so hard for Top Shelf? First of all, we have 10 new tracks, and for ranked, 5 of the 6 tracks are new tracks. And Nintendo has gotten wise, and they are doing a much better job of spreading out their coverage. You'll see a lot of cases with the items that have 2 buffs. Almost nothing is buffed on 2 ranked tracks. There's like a couple of exceptions. There's like 1 cart and 1 glider that's buffed on 2 ranked tracks. Everything else has max 1 ranked buff. So it's not like you can just take like 1 item and you're covered for ranked, the way it used to be, Yeah. It's not working like that anymore. So that's why it's so difficult. 10 new tracks and Nintendo spreading out the coverage a lot more.
You also noticed on the last slide, like instead of giving, or really all the buff slides, I think we really liked when something would get like the regular, the R, and the T. And we're like, I got this card for all 3.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
They don't do that anymore. Now they make you work for it, man. I just like knowing I had the course checked off and like I'm good there, but no, it doesn't work like that anymore. Let's talk about those gliders we were referring to earlier. First and foremost, let's talk about these Boo masks, man. Got the Boo Lake T, Ghost Valley 2 RT, and Ghost Valley 1 RT. Holy moly! What an awesome buff series for the Boo mask. Now it makes sense because Ghost Valley, Boo, totally fits that theme. So we'll see what happens next tour. But man, you gotta love this hot start for the Boo mask. That's why you see it as our number 10 glider in the game right now. 16 assumed tracks, 3 cities. Many of these tracks brand new, and it totally missed the city fiesta that we had at the anniversary. So what an awesome glider! If you have to invest in it early, that's not a bad one to go into. That's for 3 buffs. Got the Gold Cloud Balloons and the Black Star Chute. I know a lot of people invest in the Black Star Chute, which I'll flip those 2 around before I put it on Reddit. With Airship Fortress RT, Boo Lake, and the SNES Ghost Valley 1R. Number 11 on our list. It's an awesome glider. It looks really cool. We weren't sure what was going to happen to it right away, but looks like it's panning out to play off really well. And then gliders with 2 buffs. Really, this top row is the rich getting richer, man. It's the Wonderful Wings, which was our number 1 glider as it was, and here it got another buff. And so I think this really just hones in on the fact of how awesome Antelev's algorithm is when it comes to, we don't want to retrospectively look, hey, look how many things have been in rank this year. This is like, hey, these are the things to invest in because it will get even more buffs going forward. And so when you see here 5 of the, really, I guess, 6 of the top 14 items, 7 of the top 15 items getting a really good buff, or getting at least, some buffs here. That is awesome. That's what you want to see out of a top 10. So kudos to Antelev and kind of honing in that algorithm to fit that. So Wonderful Wings, again, was already number 1. If you invested in it, you're using it for ranks, you're absolutely loving it. Wicked Topaz, number 3 on our list. It's got the Ghost Valley 1T and Ghost Valley 2RT. It's had some up and downs this year, but it is up right now. It is number 3 on our list, 3 on our list. Piranha Plant Balloons, got the Boo Lake R, Donut Plains 3T, good buffs for that as well. Number 2 on our list, 20 assumed tracks, 3 cities. At the 8-bit 1-up mushroom, all the 8-bit items seem to be absolutely glorious. Got the Donut Plains 3T and the Rainbow Road RT. And then Secret Scroll, number 12 on our list, it got the Boo Lake RT and the Boo Lake T. Then Glittering Parasol, number 14 on our list, got the Donut Plains 3R, Donut Plains 3RT, and then the Mint and Berry balloons that Antelev mentioned about an hour ago. Got 2 great buffs here. 17 assumed tracks for that. Number 15 on our list. And then I have to shout out the Tropical Balloons, which I now own thanks to last tour. It now has 18 assumed tracks, 4 cities, set number 17 on our list. I'm like, every day I wake up and like almost throw all my tickets to take it to level 8 because it looks beautiful and go really well with my tropical truck. But I'm trying to save. I'm saving really, really hard right now. The one I'll point out is the Firemantic glider got one good buff. It's one of the gliders I was really heavily invested in. It's got the Bootleg RT, and that's kind of the only one you really need to look at. And then at the very bottom, you see some of the newer items, the pear panini, the chocolate pretzel, the White Waves origami glider, which I love the White Waves, but it's never I don't think it's ever gonna be in our top 10 just because of how many cities tracks it got started out with. But what are your thoughts on these gliders with the most buffs?
I want the tropical balloons as like one of those things you put around a straw, like a plastic thing with a hole in the middle. You put a straw through it and like drink my drink out of that.
Nice. I might have to work on that for my merch show.
So we have a lot of buffs for gliders, 76 new tracks and 12 of the old tracks for a total of 88 glider buffs. The Boom Mask set of buffs is absolutely crazy. These Mario vs. Luigi tour items are coming hot out of the gate. Night Luigi, Shielded Speedster, Boom Mask. I mean, they're all up to 16 assumed tracks after basically having only their initial tour and 2 rounds of buffs. I mean, they're brand spanking new, and they already all have 16 non-cities. That's a really, really hot start for all 3 of those items. The Black Star Shoot, great buffs. That one is also only 1 tour older, so this is only its effectively 3rd round of buffs, 4th tour where it could get non-city buffs. It's already up to number 11. Being in ranked week 1, the Ghost Valley 1R is kind of a disappointment because it's old track and also like a low action track, but more the merrier at this point. 18 tracks after only 4 tours is also a really, really strong start. Wonderful Wings, it's kind of getting stupid at this point because it was already the best, and it's up to 28 tracks, and it got 2 like really crazy. I mean, it's like, I know I've been trying to sell this one for a long time. I've been invested on both accounts for ages, and it's nice to be proved right, but I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous, to be honest. Brian Plans Balloons made a nice jump up to number 2 as well, with 2 good quality buffs, one being in ranked. Same thing with 1 8-foot. The 8-bit won up Mushroom, unfortunately. It got 1 older track, but it did get 1 good ranked track. Mint Berry Balloons, also 2 great new tracks. One of them is ranked. Wicked Topaz, Lava Rock, Secret Skull, all of them got 1 ranked track and 1 other track. Secret Skull got a newer one as his other track. Lava Rock, Wicked Topaz, older ones. Tropical Balloons, they didn't get a ranked track, but it did get 1 good new truck buff, and also got Maple Treeway. And then finally, Pink Magnifying Glass.
Yep.
Magnifying Glass. It didn't get a ranked buff, but it did get 2 new Donut Plains 3 tracks. So that's also one to kind of keep an eye on. A lot of buffs, a lot to talk about, a lot I could talk about here, but let's move on.
Yeah. One last slide for the buffs. This has been excruciating to talk about all these buffs, but don't want to skim over these. Some of these top gliders, you'll notice the Rich got richer. Things like the 8-bit Fireflower, the Candlelight Flight, and the Green Cat Parafoil. I will say that the Candlelight Flight and the 8-bit Fireflower got 2 of the battle courses, so these are not necessarily buffs you're really looking for. It does help you for all cup ranking, but overall, you'd rather see some of the other tracks. The Vanilla and Chocolate Balloons got the Donut Plains 3. Let's see. Shout out to the GSG who got the Donut Plains 3. Finally got a good buff, but I will say I'm using the 8-bit Jumping Mario on this track, so it's in my opinion, kind of a big oof glider buff there, because anytime you're using a super that you could take to level 8 and quad cap, you're doing it every day of the week. So yeah, that part's kind of tough. But the Red and Gold Umbrella got that same track as well. Yeah, I'm gonna skip through. I don't really want to talk about anything else on here. What are your thoughts here, Anselm?
Yeah, I saw a couple ones I had my eye on, stuff that's kind of new and meta. The Flying Flappers got Boo Lake N. That's a ranked track, so that's a good buff for that one. These are kind of up and comers. Green Cap Aerofoil got a good buff, and that's a top 5 glider. So that was really nice. For getting only one buff, that's the one you want to get. A new track, which is ranked. Yep. Red and Gold Umbrella, also one which is kind of up and coming. Got a week 2 ranked track. Yeah, the 8-bit jumping Mario. The reason why they did that is because like what Nintendo generally does is they give you at least one of the 3 ranked tracks, which is kind of more free to play friendly, less paywalled, easier to cover. But in week 2 of ranked, all 3 tracks are new tracks and all like pretty heavily paywalled. So they gave us, they put it in a Peach Cup and they gave it Peach mid shelf, so she's cup boosted, so you can use Super Peach on that track. And then they gave us a Super Glider. The karts are still tough, but I mean karts are less important than drivers or gliders. So that's why they did that. Week 2 is just brutal, though.
And to your point, to the new players, the reason that drivers and gliders are more important, obviously, for the gliders, you're getting that combo time extended for a higher level of the glider. Then for drivers, really the game revolves around drivers. Top skill drivers, getting drivers with the base points you can get higher, and that's why they're always twice as much as the kart or glider. I think that's a little bit more self-explanatory than the glider, but I always want to help out our new players. Good. We won't talk too much about the top 10 algorithms just based on time, but just know, we're really focused in on. I don't know if you made any changes. Did you make any changes around battle mode?
No. The weight for battle mode courses went up a little bit just because I think they were worth around 4.5% weighted last tour, and they're now up to something like 7%. I think they'll probably settle around 9-10% because that's kind of what we're seeing in terms of their reappearance rate. So they will probably be worth something like, a third, 30 to 40% the value of an NRT or RT retro track eventually, just because they don't show up as often. But I mean, we'll keep refining it. We'll see how Nintendo keeps the format of their thing. For the top 10, for the model, this is the second tour in a row where we have the 45 track 15 cup format, where it seems like RTs are giving equal appearance time with NRTs. That wasn't the case before. So last tour we split the weighting 50-50 between the old historical appearance rate and the new one. This week, since it happened twice in a row, we moved it to 75-25, so 75% weighting to the new weighting. So RT value went up even more. So items which were had a lot of RTs got extra value. I changed back the cart size bonus nerf just because it's become very, very apparent that Coinbox is like far and away the absolute best item to use on battle courses. It's everything else is so far, but I mean, we were struggling to get 150 actions with the Lucky 7 driver. At the same time, people are getting like 280, 300 actions with Meowser on Twilight House. It's silly. So I saw no reason to keep the cart size buff. I mean, it's just going to be as useful there as it will anywhere else. And other than that, we didn't really change that much, but you will see a lot of movement in the rankings due to mostly all the buffs, but also because of this change in RT value.
Yeah, and to your point about the coin box, now that in battle mode you can basically turn around, so you can basically do half of your coin box, turn around and get all the other coins that you just dropped. So it makes it even more powerful if you think about it that way. All right, let's get into the buffs now. I will preface in saying that we do have a payable position here at the Studfit channel. I've been all these next slides you'll see I've been doing in addition to the slides you just saw. The slides we just saw were pretty straightforward. I'd love for someone to be able to do that for me, and would love to pay you to do it. But ultimately, these slides that I've just done take a lot more work, but it's something I think is really valuable to the community, and there's a need there. So this is something I'm updating this tour, and I may or may not continue doing it this way. But one of the things I wanted to add here is number of tracks left to see. This I think is a highly requested item. I kind of mentioned on the last rundown. Might be very helpful for you to say, hey, I'm looking at this item or this item. This one has 15 tracks left to see. This one has 50 or 80 or something like that. So it might kind of tip you over the edge. But let's start with Charging Chuck. He's been in our top 10 for quite some time. He is number 10 on our list. He's down one spot here. He's got 25 assumed tracks, 7 cities, 15 tracks left to see. You can see his coverage there. It's all over the board. He's a really good driver. I think if you're a new player, strong one to invest in general. Some top pairings for him. 86 out of 237 tracks can be covered with Charging Chuck paired with Shy Guy Ninja, Kangaroo Yoshi, and Mario Saddle of You. And so you'll notice some of these guys repeatedly with other drivers. These are great pairs, meaning that if you have Charging Chuck and he's the pillar of your account, you might want to think about some other items that will get you and kind of maximize your coverage, that will complement what he does really well in the tracks in his coverage and not overlap. So if you see on the bottom, Charging Chuck does overlap with Meowser, Mario Samurai, and Shy Guy Ninja Pink 5 times. And I will say, out of 25 tracks, 5 is not a lot. There's some that you'll see that have 6 or 7 overlaps. 5 isn't a lot. You can't really avoid investing in Meowser and Charging Chuck, but you might want to maybe think twice about investing in Mario Samurai if you have invested heavily into Charging Chuck, as just an example. So again, if you have Charging Chuck, take a look at these pairings and then look at the overlap and kind of maybe that might help you as you're building out your account. But again, every account's different. I highly recommend you checking out the spreadsheets. Anything you want to say about Charging Chuck?
No, I'll save my comments till we get to the end of the list, I guess.
Okay, all right. Well, that works out well. And again, I kind of update these as well. So, for instance, with Yoshi Gold Egg, one of the things when running a Turtle Dude's coverage optimizer, which I highly recommend, the link in the description for the Turtle Dude's coverage optimizer. But last tour I had Gold Yoshi Egg and Meowser and Saddle of You, and that covered 66 tracks. Well, by adding Nabbit to the list, it actually made more sense to do that because that gave you an additional 20 tracks out of the 237. So another new pairing. That's why he's kind of highlighted in this pink behind him. But Gold Yoshi Egg has 21 assumed tracks, 5 cities. He has 44 tracks left to see, which was higher than I thought, even though he's been around all year. I think because he came out a couple tours after Meowser, I thought they would be pretty neck and neck, but he's still got some tracks to see. However, the top skill overlaps with Volendam and, of course, the Gold Me Racing Suit. So that's 6 tracks of his 21 where you're going to probably want to use the Gold Me Racing Suit, leaving him really only 15 tracks that he's going to be your best option. So that is 15 is not a lot. So comparatively. So moving to number 8, White Tanuki Mario. He's got 18 assumed tracks. He's up 4 spots to number 8. He's got 5 cities though. He has 101 tracks left to see. Some top skill pairings would be Nabbit, Meowser, and Mario Saddle of You. Covers 82 out of the 237 tracks, and he has no driver that overlaps 5 times. He has, I think, like maybe 10 that overlap 4 times, but none 5 times, which is, again, I think if you're looking at 18 tracks and a couple of them overlapping 4 times, that still leaves you a good number of tracks for a new driver. Again, he's got 102 tracks left to see. And then one of the things I've been adding on some of these is, which maybe I'll just talk about in the next slide. That is Mario Samurai. So he has 25 assumed tracks, 7 cities. A good pairing for him would be Kangaroo Yoshi and Mario Saddle of You. That would cover 68 out of the 237 tracks. You'll notice that that white number underneath, meaning that this tour, if you had that same pairing, it would give you no tracks new compared to last tour. So, I think this helps you kind of, and partly explains why he went down 2 spots in our top 10. A lot of these at the closer to the top, you'll see got 1, got 2 tracks added to that pair. So I just want to kind of add that in context as you're thinking about, hey, here's my pillar Mario Samurai. What's this grouping that I've kind of put together? How's that looking? And then for top skill overlap, it's hard to avoid Shy Guy Ninja and Meowser, but 7 is a lot. 7 is a lot for a driver with 27 tracks, meaning that he's got only 18 tracks where you're not going to want to use a coin box driver like Meowser as an example. So we already knew that about Mario Samurai. He's kind of this overlap king, that he has a lot of overlap with a lot of top skills. But if you just invest in him, he might be, instead of like he might be like the jack of all trades, master of none, where he can help you a lot of tracks, but maybe not be especially if you're a newer player. He might help you get caught up, and that's really important to say now that he's in the Spotlight Shop. He's one of the more interesting Spotlight Shop items out there if you don't have him. Number 6 on our list, Daisy Tie Dress. She has 18 assumed tracks, 5 cities. Unfortunately, she went down 2 in our list, but she's got 79 tracks left to see. Now, I will say we kind of talked about the Spotlight Shop a little bit earlier, but one of the things we didn't mention is that one of the things you probably shouldn't expect to see are some of the drivers based around cities. So if you notice, I don't personally think we'll see Volendam, Daisy Tie Dress, even King Mario. I don't think we'll see these guys coming into the Spotlight Shop anytime soon, in my opinion. So Daisy Tie Dress is one of my personal favorite coin boxes. If you notice on the right side of the screen, if you look at all of her coverage, there's not a lot of other overlap that she has. You'll see a lot of drivers with 2 top skills, maybe 3 top skills, maxing out at like 4, and then you have like 2 tracks that have like 5. So she's a really, really good coin box driver. For her pairing, Nabbit actually jumped in when running the algorithm again. This gave the pairing 2 new tracks by adding Nabbit to Daisy Tie Dress. Again, Nabbit got no buff, so that's really important to just be aware of, is that Daisy must have had overlap with whoever was in there before, and here she is. Helps that whole pairing really well by adding Nabbit to that. So Nabbit's new, that's why he's highlighted in that pink. Top skill overlaps, Yoshi Kangaroo, which it's interesting, he's a really good pair for a lot of drivers, not so much with Daisy Tie Dress, and then Mario Samurai. He's on a lot of overlap lists, that's for sure. Moving into our top 5, we got Petey Piranha. He's got 22 assumed tracks, 4 cities, went up 3 spots on our list. Some great pairings, same pairings from last tour, but Meowser, Yoshi Kangaroo, and Mario Saddle View. This 4 grouping pairing jumped up 4 tracks. Obviously, Petey Piranha got some nice buffs there, but the whole pairing as a whole went up from 83 tracks to 87. So that's a really, really strong pairing. So if you have Petey Piranha, you might want to think about some of those other pillars. However, the top skill overlaps, you got 2 Mii suits. Obviously, the Petey Piranha version of Mii suit version of himself, and then the I think seems to be everyone's favorite Mii Coinboxer, which is the question mark block suit, and then some of the Banana Republic favorite there with Pink Shy Guy Ninja. And then number 4, we have Charging Chuck Gold, which, by the way, just to kind of hit on this, I skimmed over it. Petey Piranha still has 85 tracks left to see. The reason I think it's so important to bring back up and why I touched back on it, if you look at Charging Chuck Gold, he's got 125 tracks left to see and already number 4 on our list. I think it's a matter of time before he's number 1 on our list. He's at 3 spots here, 16 assumed tracks, 3 cities. He's really paired well with Shy Guy Ninja, Yoshi Kangaroo, and Mario Salad View. This combo added 2 new tracks in total. However, the top skill overlap, obviously the non-gold version of himself, the Knight, Luigi, and then Pink Shy Guy Ninja. Number 3 on our list, Meowser. No stranger to the top 3, as he's been here, staying steady here. Now, 27 assumed tracks, 4 cities. Great numbers there. 12 tracks left to see, which is slowly dwindling. He actually had a new pairing added with Petey Piranha. So Petey Piranha, Yoshi Kangaroo, and Mario Saddle View now cover 87 out of the 237 tracks here. Up to top skill overlap, Shy Guy Ninja and Mario Samurai now cover 7 of his tracks, which out of 27 left with 20, still pretty good. But again, I think a lot of people who have invested heavily in Meowser is just staying away from Mario Samurai in general. You do have a couple drivers that overlap 6 times, including Charging Chuck Regular, Luigi Vacation, which we haven't heard a lot about in quite some time, Kamek, and the Gold Mii Racing Suit. So I think a lot of people who invested heavily in Meowser didn't see the need right away to invest in the Gold Mii Racing Suit because of those 6 tracks. But you still got 21 tracks there where he's going to be the best option. Finally, ran into our last 2. Gold Mii Racing Suit. Same from his last tour. 23 assumed tracks, 10 cities. He's at 31 tracks left to see, just to Anselev's point earlier. You got Nabbit and Meowser added to his pairing, which is strange because Meowser overlaps 5 times, as we discussed. But Nabbit, Meowser, Mario Saddle View now cover 83 out of the 237 tracks, up 2 tracks there. Top skill overlap, Peach Happy, Fortunately, this Gold Bee racing suit basically killed off Beach Happy. And then, of course, because it came out around the same time, this Yoshi Gold Egg, he stole a lot of value from Gold Yoshi Egg Hunt. Gold Yoshi Egg Gold something. And then finally, we got the question mark block suit. So he's got, same as last tour, staying put, king of the hill, 19 assumed tracks, 5 cities. He's got 53 tracks left to see. So he's really, really doing well there. I will say the top skill pairing, he's got 3 boomerang drivers, which I think is really, really interesting, and probably why Raker85 has been shouting from the rooftop how great the question mark block suit is, because he's invested pretty heavily in at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3 of these pairings here. So now with Volodom, which by the way, last tour I just had Shy Guy Ninja and Yoshi Kangaroo that covered 63 of the tracks. So by adding Volodom, you add 20 tracks to that pairing. So a really good addition there. If you like Boomerang, then I think question mark block suit is going to be a good one for you for sure. And then top skill overlap. Unfortunately, the other Boomerang driver that we haven't talked about, PD Piranha, covers 5 of the 19 tracks. So now there's many cases where you're still going to want to use question mark block suit over PD Piranha just because of those base points. But just be aware that if you invested pretty heavily in PD, you might be seeing both of those guys on that top shelf quite a lot. And then Mario Samurai there as well. So, Ansellev, all in all, we had the top 3 stay put, a couple other movers and shakers. What's your thoughts on our top 10 drivers?
Yeah, so basically, like, Meowser got the Twilight House buff, which is nothing, but it's close to it. It is kind of useful. Same thing with question mark Blockhead got that Rainbow Road RT, so they held their value, but relatively the ones which got the really strong new track buffs and ranked, you see them going up. It's kind of unfortunate for Ty Daisy because she got one really good buff, like a new track, which is also an exclusive, but the fact is that charging gold Chuck Box and PD Brian just got more and better buffs, so they kind of leapfrogged her there. And then finally, wait until Mario makes his debut in the top 10. He's pretty quick to get up there, moving up 4 spots to number 8. And in the top 15, Dr. Peach and Luigi Knight both rose, I think, 7 or 8 spots as well due to their really strong buffs they got this tour. But I think it's not like a super surprising top 10, not anywhere like there's a lot more movement in the karts and gliders, which we have some really big surprises. So yeah,
we got some big surprises. But is this the highest we've ever had a giant banana driver?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't think Pink Shy Guy ever like really cracked the top 10, or maybe he stuck in there once or twice. But
he might have gotten number 10 or 9 or something. But I don't think we've ever had a giant banana. So shout out to the Banana Republic there for representing. Mm-hmm. Let's move to these karts. So Cupid's Arrow, been around for a while now. It has only 18 tracks left to see. It's got 22 tracks now, 8 cities. Its kart pairing would be the Armored Rider, Gold Pumpkin Kart, and the Yellow Off-Roader. This combo did add a new track, so now they cover 85 out of the 237 tracks there. And then for the kart overlap, this Daikon Rocket, the Gray Cat Cruiser, and the Purple Bunny. So not necessarily ones that are really popular. Does have some overlap, but only 4. 4 is not a lot compared to the 22 tracks it has. So I'd say you're pretty safe if you invest in it. Not a lot of overlap with just 1 or 2 items. Armored Rider, a lot of people's favorites. You're probably wondering, how did this fall 7 spots? It was so meta, right? Well, unfortunately, there's just a lot of karts that got some really good buffs. And Armored Rider, if you noticed, it wasn't really highly discussed earlier as we talked about the buffs. 22 assumed tracks, 2 cities. It's got 35 tracks left to see. You can see kind of the karts that have larger, bigger overlap there on the right. And then its kart pairing would be the Romby Runner, the Rumby Runner, right? I'm trying to remember between the Runner and Rider, and then Gold Pumpkin Kart, and then the Off-Roader. This covers 89 of the 237 tracks. Added 1 from this tour. Kart overlap, you're not too worried about it there when it comes to which one is that? Is it the Firefly? I'm trying to remember.
That's the Dragonfly.
Dragonfly, thank you. And then the carts with, there's no carts that overlap with it 6 times. There's a few that overlap with it 5 times. The reason I'm concerned about this is that I have been heavily invested into the Secure Hop Rod and the Vampire Flyer, both of those on there. But it's only 5 out of 22. I guess that only leaves you 17. But I have not invested in this yet, but it's a beautiful cart. So many people have. If you have it, you even have it at level 3 or something like that, it's definitely going to be well worth it. It's like in these pairings all over the place. In fact, this next one, which we talk about for the prop card, 23 assumed tracks, 4 cities here, 21 tracks left to see. Some of the card pairings that we talked about, the Armor Rider, Gold. You notice this, and that's one of the only reasons why I put this Gold Pumpkin card, even though it's so small. It's in the pairing. If you get the Armored Rider, the Off-Roader, Yellow Off-Roader, and the Gold Pumpkin card up to a high level, you can basically pair it with whatever you want because it's really, really strong. This specific pairing, these 4, cover a really good number of tracks, 89 out of 237, added 1 to this tour. And then for the overlap, the Combo Cruiser, the Slugger here, I'm trying to remember, I always forget which one that is.
Candy Clown.
Oh,
that's the Wild Slugger.
Wild Slugger. Thank you. Yeah. So that's our number 8 on our list. Up 20 freaking spots. This Strawberry Soft Swerve, 17 assumed tracks, 5 cities, still has 102 tracks to see. Pairing, you wouldn't be surprised here. Armored Rider, Yellow Off-Roader, Gold Pumpkin card. Man, I hope you don't have a drinking game where we mention those 3 cards. Yeah, so the card overlap though is the I think it's the chocolate and banana minibus, and then that covers 7 times, and then the green cat cruiser and the watermelon cart covers 6 times. So a very unique one, jumping 20 spots. We don't have stuff jumping 20 spots very often, but I will say that would not even be the biggest surprise here on this list. Warrior Wagon does fall down 2 spots, 22 assumed, 11 cities, 35 tracks left to see. It has really unique card pairing between the Purple Bunny, the Cheap Snorkel, and the Silver King, covering 86 out of the 237 tracks. It's overlapped, though, 7 times, 7 out of 22, leaving only 15 with this Cact R, 6 with the Fast Frank. Number 4 on our list, the Lightning Streamliner. Very, very valuable cards. I know a lot of people have been focusing on trying to get that from the Spotlight Shop. I got it. I'm already salivating, waiting for the time I can invest in it. I'm probably going to, I'm trying to save, so I can't keep talking like this, but I really wish I could invest in it. I would highly, if you have it, I would invest in it. I think that's a safe investment. Probably the safest investment you can out of any of these cards, in my opinion. 19 assumed tracks, 5 cities, still has 85 tracks left to see. It is crushing it. It does have 5 overlaps though with this red off-roader. So again, those people who love awesome looking carts, you're torn, right? Because you have this, not that Lightning Streamliner is like that awesome looking, but it's pretty cool looking. This red off-roader though, between the yellow off-roader and this Lightning Streamliner, is unfortunately not getting a lot of unique value. Sorry about that. Still getting over this, whatever it is. Magma Broom, number 4 on the list, up 6 spots here. As we already talked about, these 2 great buffs they got this towards. 21 tracks left to see, which is actually a smaller number than I thought, but paired really, really well with the Rumby Runner, the Mark II, and then the Yellow Off-Roader. It does have 8 tracks overlapping with this green-yellow capsule cart, and then the Vampire Flyer 7 times. So 8 is a lot, especially for 2 top 10 items that are currently in the same top 10. I mean, that just leaves it, 16 tracks there if you invested in one. Now, talking about that green-yellow capsule cart, it's up 18 spots to number 3. That's a huge jump. 21 assumed tracks, 5 cities, still has 53 tracks to see. It pairs really well with the Mark II, Gold Pumpkin cart, and the Yellow Off-Roader, covering that 87 times, 87 of the 237 tracks. So huge jump there from the yellow capsule card. You have to really want these capsule cards, but this one, man, I never thought I'd be investing in a capsule card, but this one's really strong. Finally, the former number 1 has been unfortunately dethroned, It's still a phenomenal card. I still think if you're looking at quad capping any card, it's still got to be the Yellow Off-Roader in my opinion. But it's got 27 assumed tracks, 4 cities, 0 tracks left to see. That's a big 0, but they keep buffing it with new tracks. So it's like it's so hard to predict. But this is one of the biggest numbers you'll see. 89 tracks when it comes to pairing it with the Romby Runner, the Gold Pumpkin Cart, and the Armored Rider. Some overlap is the Tanuki Karts and the Choco Macaroon 7 times with the Combo Cruiser, Purple Bunny, Cact X, and the Brown Off-Roader 6 times. And then finally, our brand new number 1, the Shielded Speedster, 16 assumed tracks, 3 cities, 137 tracks left to see, up 4 spots. So if it's paired with either the Yellow Off-Roader and the Gold Pumpkin Cart with either the Mark II or the Armored Rider, that'll give you 82 tracks out of the 237, up 3 tracks for either pairing. It does have some overlap with some carts, but again, 4 is not a lot. It just only leaves you 12 if you have one of these at a high level. But Red Off-Roader, the Coral Jet Cruiser, the Goo Goo Black, and the Piranha Pipe. So yeah, this Shielded Speedster, man, up 4 spots. I know a lot of people in our server and other servers were wondering how that happened, but it's a great cart. 137 tracks left to see. It's already got 16. It's relatively new, so to have 16 tracks is phenomenal. So, Anselm, here's our brand new list with 2 items jumping double digits. A huge shuffle. What are your thoughts on these carts?
Yeah, so obviously we have to talk about Shielded Speedster because I was kind of surprised when I saw the results as well. I have to remember it was already number 5 last tour. It didn't get like the craziest buffs this tour, but it got some. That was enough to like kind of push it over the top. So I know a lot of people are not really understanding why this cart is number 1. So, like, talking about the model, like, what we're used to seeing is carts with, like, just sheer volume, having a lot of tracks, having, 24, 25 tracks, 27 tracks in the case of Yellow Off-Roader, but being items which are kind of, like, well-seasoned. They've been around for a while. They've seen most of the tracks. They've been in ranked a lot. So that is, like, a rating based on quantity, but you can also have a rating based on quality. And some of the top 10, 15 items are more to the quantity side, older items with a lot of tracks, and some are more to the quality side, newer items with like very high quality tracks. So, and a lot of them are kind of a mix somewhere in the middle. So Shielded Speedster is like an extreme example of having high quality tracks over high quantity. So it's got 16 non-city tracks. 11 of those 16 tracks are from 2022, and only one of those, which is I think Wario Shipyard variant, is older than the Ocean Tour. So Ocean Tour is, if you don't count the Anniversary Tour because it's all cities, that's only 6 tours ago. So 10 of its 16 tracks are from 6 tours or more ago or more recent, and the model gives like huge value to newer tracks because we see those coming back more often, we see them in ranked more often, and they're like a really difficult paywall track. So the quality of its tracks is unbelievable. On top of that, it's extremely new. It's from the Mario vs. Luigi tour. We had the Anniversary Tour right after that, which was an all city tour, so no rounds of buffs there, and then we had the Bowser Tour. No, sorry, we had the Battle Tour, and now we have this tour, so it's had its starting tracks and then only 2 rounds of buffs. It still has 137 tracks left to see. It already has 16 tracks. That's, close to, it's almost 2/3 of the tracks, retro tracks, which it hasn't seen yet. At 16 tracks, I would say, realistically, the floor where it could end up is something like 24 non-city tracks. There's only 12 carts in the game which have 24 or more non-city tracks. I think more realistically, it could beat Yellow Off-Roader at 27 non-cities and come to just because it gets so many buffs so quickly and has so many tracks left to see. And right around now is when you'll start to see its ranked window opening as well. So we can expect to see it ranked a lot more in the upcoming tours. And the model gives a big bonus to newer items, so the newer the better, just because, those tend to be in ranked more, and they tend to be used more on the newer tracks.
And now I know people are going to say like, well, hey, not all newer tracks are brought on that often. You know, I haven't seen Sky Garden in a while. I haven't seen this.
Sure.
So sometimes people will say that, but I want to point out what you're saying, which is that I have my expectation we'll see Sky Garden, Mushroom Gorge, whatever. We'll see these tracks more often. I think we have a higher likelihood of seeing it in the next 6 months than we will Shy Guy Bazaar or, you know,
Definitely.
Neo Bowser City or, you know, some of these tracks that we only see once a year. So that's all I'm saying is like, maybe not all newer tracks. There are some that we don't see very often, but maybe they come back in the spring and they're all over the place. And so, you know, I just want to, for anyone who's thinking that side of things, that was a fairly good argument. I kind of thought about it though and looked at all the tracks, and there are some that just kept coming back. Even so, like the 3DS Bowser's Castle, we saw that so frequently all summer long. You know, Coconut Mall, we saw all summer long, and then now we don't see it really that much. And so, you know, any track that we kind of skimmed over earlier in the year, I guarantee it we'll see in the next 6 months. So don't fret too much. 22 tracks are the tracks you want.
Yeah, and the last reason why it's on top is it's a very big size. It's not like off-roader size, but it's pretty close, especially with that lance thing like sticking out. It's got a really nice size, and we did like slightly. We reverted the cart size bonus nerf last tour. Like some people have been like, how can it be number one? It's so new. It's not in rank this tour. This is going to be a good test for the model. If we see how it develops over the next few weeks, if we see it not getting buffed, not being in rank, then that maybe is going to tell us, okay, we need to remove some of the bonus for just having like new stuff, you know?
Here's Antelope though. I know you're defending it a lot, which I don't think you need to. Here's what I'm saying again, because I've been supporting this list and from back in the Tabor days. The way I see it is, I want you to berate me if the shielded speedster does not get ranked twice next tour. That's what I'm willing to put my neck out there, because the thing is about this algorithm, I absolutely love the algorithm, is it is used to predict the future. And I believe in the algorithm. I know that it's going to point towards the future, not the past. And so I don't know why it's doing this, but that's what the algorithm does, is it points towards the future. I have a very strong feeling it'll be in ranked twice next tour. I'm putting my neck out there. Berate me if I'm wrong, but there we go. Drop the mic. I'm going all in. In fact, I'm going to invest in it. I've just determined right now. I believe in the algorithm that much, and so you'll see. I'll invest in it. You'll see it. I don't even know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I believe in the algorithm that much, Angela. So don't defend it. Just put your neck out there. I think it'll be ranked twice next tour.
No, but I mean, really, the rankings are meant to be not just a measurement of how good an item. I mean, it's pretty easy to say, hey, like, you know, yellow off-roader, prop cart, armored rider.
Yeah.
These have been around for a while. They got a ton of tracks. They've been useful, but it doesn't necessarily tell you how useful. What are going to be the most useful tracks coming up? And so, like, part of what we are doing with the model is, yes, telling you the quality of like the next tour that comes up, what are the chances these carts are going to be useful for you? And basically what the model is telling us is that Shielded Speedster is going to be the most useful cart upcoming. So again, that's based on probabilities. It's not based on, you know, we're making a projection here, so it can be wrong, but it's based on, you know, certain inputs which we think make sense. And if it turns out to be flawed in the future, we'll obviously review those and change those. But I'm pretty excited because we've never had a number one item this soon. And I also am putting my money where my mouth is. I invested in it as well, even though it's not even a ranked this tour, just because I kind of I mean, I'm excited to see like how it does, you know, and like, you know, if it's not working out, that's fine, and we'll change things. But I think it's pretty exciting. Okay, so moving on from the Shielded Speedster, because we spent enough time on that one. But that's just a bit of an explanation how such a new item can be so high already. The predictive side of the model is saying that this is going to be the next big thing, probably from now for the next 3-4 months. So a green yellow capsule cart, kind of a similar thing, not quite as new, but got like some huge buffs, so it jumped up. Strawberry soft swarm, the same thing. A lot of tracks left to see. 3 buffs, 2 new tracks, 1 in ranked. Also a bigger cart. Magma Boom and Lightning Streamlighter also got the buffs. They also moved up. The ones that all fell down: Armor Rider, Cupid Zero, Silver King, Jukebuck Buggy, all fell down 6 or 7 spots. That's just the kind of tour this is. There's so many buffs. If an item doesn't get a buff, it is going to fall down. That's just how it's going. And then finally, Coral Jet Cruiser didn't quite crack the top 10, but it got really close. It's up 6 spots due to its 2 great buffs, one of which is in ranked. So if people want to DM me and ask more questions, I can do breakdowns of the individual items and show where the value is coming from. I'm happy to do that. It gets a little bit complicated to do here on the stream or on the rundown, but I'm happy to explain privately.
No, you've been awesome about that. So I haven't done anything on the trackers or anything like that, but I'm going to show you right here, guys. It's happening. I'm leveling it up. So it's happening.
Studfit is more than willing to put my neck on the line.
Man, that's how much I love you. I don't want you to have to defend yourself.
Oh my god.
Rundown first. I don't think I've ever invested in a card taking something. I'm just gonna take it to level 7.
Oh my god.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm investing in the future. I love new items. I love investing in it. It's a fun card to drive. But there you go, guys. Level 7.
Wow.
It's happening.
Right.
Again, I haven't plugged anything in my tracker. I had no sense I was going to do that. Actually, I was thinking about doing it with the Lightning Streamliner. But there it is, guys. I believe in the algorithm. All right, let's move forward to the gliders. We got boom masks. We talked about this, a huge jump, 53 spots. In fact, I didn't even put the assumed tracks and cities on here, but you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 16 assumed tracks here. It doesn't look like any of them are cities, which is really good. Makes my job easier here, updating it. Right? 0 cities.
I'll check real quick.
While you're doing that, though, it still has yet to see 137 tracks yet left to see, which is phenomenal there. It does have some good pairings with it, thanks to a Turtle Dude's coverage optimizer. You had the Fire Flower, 8-bit Fire Flower, which has been an awesome glider. So already starting off the good there. Now the Glittering Parasol, maybe not one you had on your radar, but the Record Setter, a solid glider there. Even though it wasn't as high on our top 10 here, still pretty solid though. Those 3.
It's got 3 cities, but I think they're not in the graphic. So it has 19 tracks.
Oh, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it covers 66 out of the 237 tracks. The downside though, 7 tracks overlap with the Candlelight Flight. That's a big deal, guys, because that only leaves 9 tracks left for the boom mask, and a lot of people invested very heavily in the Candlelight Flight. So I know it's you might even be doing what I am and get a little too excited. But 7 is a lot. So if you invested heavily in the Candlelight Flight, just hold a little bit. That's 9 tracks to 7, losing over here. So nearly half its tracks. Still a solid glider. Can't wait to see how it goes forward. Record Setter, as we talked about, falling down 3 spots to number 9. 26 assumed tracks, 9 cities. Has 21 tracks left to see. Pairs really well with the 8-bit Bullet Bill, the Golden Wings, and the 8-bit Super Mushroom. Covers 94 out of the 237 tracks, which is really good. However, the glider overlaps with a phenomenal glider in the game, as we already talked about. It's the number 1 glider in the game. The Wonderful Wings. 8 is a lot. Now 26 is a good number of tracks, but it only leaves 18 there if you've invested heavily in that. And then one of my favorite gliders, the Galaxy Glider, 7 times there. So certainly a good glider. But not as high as it used to be. 8-bit Fire Flower, 29 tracks. That's, I think, the most of any glider. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is one more than Wonderful Wings.
And one more than the Black Great Sail 2?
I think so, yeah.
Look that up if you don't mind. But 11 cities there. It's still a lot of cities, but 29 assumed tracks is phenomenal. It did fall down 4 spots, though. Some great pairings. So one of the things that happened this tour is that due to this tour, you have, I actually had a brand new set pop in that tied with the Candlelight Flight, so actually I think it was the Candlelight Flight, the Bright Balloons, and another glider, and that other glider was replaced by the Wonderful Wings. Fortunately, due to all the buffs that happened this tour, the Wonderful Wings replaced whatever that glider was to give it 2 new tracks. So it's good to be aware of any type of changes to these pairings. But then also a brand new pair jumped in that tied it, and that would be the Dry Bowser Umbrella, the 8-Bit Super Mushroom, and that Wonderful Wings. So I added 2 tracks to be 95 out of the 237 tracks. Did you have
Black Raid Sail 27 assumed tracks?
27 for the Black Raid Sail, last year's number 1 glider in the game. 8-Bit Bullet Bill and Golden Wings, and the Springtime Crane. Again, 2 of these gliders are meta kings there. So that part's 6 tracks. 6 tracks isn't a lot, though, if you consider 29. Still leaves 23 there left. So really strong glider. Highly recommend still investing in it still to this day. Golden Wings, kind of on that same basis. These were really 2 strong gliders all year round. 28 assumed tracks for the Golden Wings, 11 cities there. 0 tracks left to see. Down 4 spots. It pairs really well with the 8-Bit Bullet Bill, 8-Bit Super Mushroom, and then either the Galaxy Glider or the Ship's Wheel. Both of those combos cover 95 out of the 237 tracks. 95 is a really good number. Some glider overlap, as we kind of discussed. It's got some overlap with this Fire Flower. 6 times. Golden home field glider?
Yep.
Gold home field glider, and then the Black Cat Parafoil. Number 6 on our list, down 4 spots, unfortunately, Candlelight Flight, which I was actually really surprised this tour being a Ghost Tour and kind of the Candlelight Flight coming out last year around that same time. It dropped 4 spots to 20 with 27 assumed tracks, 11 cities, still has 10 tracks to see. But a great pairing with that would be the 8-Bit Fire Flower, the Bright Balloons, and the Record Setter with 93 out of 237. The glider overlap, it's got a couple gliders. I only included two there, but 7 overlaps there for the Sakura Origami Glider, and then the Flyberry Book. So good to keep track on those. Then the Green Cat Parafoil, number 5, holding it steady. This is a good glider out of all the cat parafoils. This one is the king. It's holding out with 20 assumed tracks, 6 cities, 69 left to see. A great pairing for that would be the 8-Bit Bullet Bill, 8-Bit Super Mushroom, and a brand new to this pairing would be the Dry Bowser Umbrella. Before it just had the 8-Bit Bullet Bill and Super Mushroom and one other, and that was it. But this one's a really good pairing there. However, it does have some overlap, but all new stuff. So this vanilla and chocolate ice cream balloons, the gold eggshell, and the piranha plant balloons. Good to keep track of that. And then the 8-Bit 1-Up Mushroom. This is a great glider, up 3 spots to number 4 on our list. 21 unassumed tracks, 3 cities. Still has a lot of tracks to see, surprisingly. Doesn't seem like a new glider, but 85 tracks left to see is still really good. Some good pairings with it are all meta level. When you talk about the 8-Bit Super Mushroom, Golden Wings, or Golden Wings and 8-Bit Bullet Bill, covers 68 out of the 237 tracks. That adds 2 compared to last tour. Really, really helpful to add 2 new tracks there to these pairings. However, the glider overlap covers 6 times with the Piranha Plant Balloons and the Mario's Mustache. Number 3 on our list, up 8 spots. The Wicked Topaz, 22 assumed tracks, 5 cities. Still has 53 tracks left to see. One of my favorite gliders. I went early invested in it, but it's had its ups and downs. It now, alongside the 8-Bit Bullet Bill, Super Mushroom, and my other favorite glider, the Galaxy Glider, covers 93 out of 237 tracks. Because it went up 8 spots, it was outside the top 10, so I don't have any statistics on this pairing from last tour. But it does overlap. This is really important. It does overlap with the Wonderful Wings 6 times. So 6 out of 22, it only leaves you 16. That's really important to know because this is a great glider to invest in. So just be aware of that. If you haven't invested in the Wonderful Wings, you can either go one of 2 directions, either Wicked Topaz or the Wonderful Wings. It may not make sense for both. Number 2 on our list. This was a big surprise. Up 6 spots. The Piranha Plant Balloons. 20 assumed tracks, 3 cities. Still has 85 tracks left to see. So 2 different pairings cover 90 out of the 237 tracks. 90 isn't a lot, but this is still a new glider. Still has 85 tracks left to see, only 20 assumed tracks. But it pairs really well with what we had last tour, which was the 8-Bit Super Mushroom, Golden Wings, and 8-Bit Bullet Bill. But in addition to getting 2 new tracks, It pairs really well with a brand new set, which is the Wonderful Wings, Dry Bowser Umbrella, and 8-Bit Super Mushroom. So 2 good pairings there. 90 is not bad for a newer glider like this, but to add 2 is really powerful. The downside, guys, this 8-Bit 1-Up Mushroom. If you've not invested in that, maybe this is the direction to go. 6 out of the 20 is kind of a lot. You might want to, I don't know, if you've invested really heavily into the 1-Up, you might want to avoid the Piranha Plant Balloons. I will say, I saw this Piranha Plant Balloons quite a lot during some of the city tours. So I think all 3 cities, this is like my best option. So it's a really cool looking. It's one of my favorite out of all of the PD stuff. But yeah, really strong there to see at number 2. And as we talked about, the rich get richer here. Wonderful Wings was our number 1 last tour, and it got a nice buff, and it's still the number 1. In fact, both of these pairings from last tour gained 3 tracks. So really, really strong sets there. Wonderful Wings itself has 28 assumed tracks, 6 cities, and then 21 tracks left to see, which I was surprised to hear. I was expecting it to be closer to 0. Glider Overlap, though, record setter, and the Aurora Balloons 8 times. 8 is a lot, even considering the fact that it's 28. So record setter, if you invested heavily in that, Wonderful Wings. So, we kind of talked about the Wicked Wings having 6. Wonderful Wings has even more overlap with the record setter. So, a lot of big movement, especially this big move, the Boo Masks. But Ansel, what's your thoughts on the top 10 gliders?
Yeah, the Boom Mask, I had to do a double take when I calculated the results. But I mean, if you look at the buffs it got, that it's like 2 ranked buffs, 3 new tracks plus a battle course. I mean, it's a very new item. So again, Boom Mask is kind of similar to the Shielded Speedster and Luigi Knight. They're all Mario versus Luigi Tour items, very new, already 16 assumed tracks. So that's why. The thing is, for Karts, the average number of coverage for a high-end Kart is about 17, so 16 tracks for Kart already is huge. For Glider, it's a bit more. It's around, I think, 18 and a half, so it's not quite as impressive. That's why it's only number 10, but still crazy buffs and an amazing strong start. It's just that overlap, like you said, was a bit concerning. The Wonderful Wings buffs are so good. So it wasn't first, last, and we have not only the rankings, but we have the raw score normalized to 100, so it was 100. Second place was Candlelight Flights last week, and it had a score of, I think, about 94. The number 2 glider this week has a score of 86. So instead of being 6 points ahead of number 2, it's now 14 points ahead of number 2. So that is an absolute. It doesn't move ranks, but it's so far in first. It's ridiculous. And then Piranha Plant Balloons, Wicked Topaz, 8-Bit Water Mushrooms. They don't have huge amounts of tracks. They're not 24, 25 area, but super high quality tracks. For example, Piranha Plant Balloons, 10 of its 20 non-cities are newer tracks that are, I think, Piranha Plant 2 or later. So we're getting a mix of good coverage, but also the very high quality tracks. Other than that, let me see, did I have any other notes on the gliders? The Green Cat Parafoil managing not to fall is actually a big win for it, because it did get buffed, because it got leapfrogged by 3 gliders, so that's actually kind of a nice one. But nothing else really to mention. What I said about the Karts holds true here. We don't like this much volatility in the model, but when you have a tour like this with 10 new tracks and 278 buffs, it's unavoidable.
It's unavoidable, dude. All right, let's see if we can end right at 2 hours here. Top movers and shakers. A lot of drivers. Something we've talked about a little bit before already, but King Boo Me Racing Suit up 46 spots to number 24. That's a huge jump for a Misu, especially. King Boo's Luigi Mitch, we kind of talked about that. Kind of laughable. It jumped from 119. So I wouldn't say it should be on your peripheral by any means. Mario King went up 40 spots to number 82, so he's out of the hundreds. Good for him there. And then the rest are really just Me Suits. Kind of just getting into the 50s, and I would say the Birdo Me Racing Suit did get to number 35. That's the only one to kind of point out there. And then for the most improved Karts, Gold Sweet Ride went up 79 spots, which is huge. However, it came from a really tough starting spot. Now number 64. Again, I talked a lot about some of my friends putting a lot of tickets into that. Green Speedster went up 69 spots to 72. The gold double decker, 68 spots to 132. Yeah, I'll kind of skip through some of those. Nothing's really standing out from the rest of the list, to be honest with you.
No.
And then for the gliders, Boom Masks, as we talked about, went up 53 spots to number 10. Huge there. Parapanini went up 46 to 82. Warriors Mustache went up 37 spots to 47. Pink Magnifying Glass went up 36 spots to number 26. That's really all I'm going to say here. I will say the White Waves Origami Glider came out during the anniversary tour, so all fittings started at 159, went up 25 spots, 134 currently. So I'm already willing to say, as beautiful as it is, and I would absolutely love investing in it. Like if I didn't know its tracks because of how beautiful it is, it will never be in our top 10. I will put that out there. I don't see it ever being in our top 10. I wish I could put something on I'd step away from YouTube, but I don't know. You never know Nintendo. They're always going to do crazy stuff. Talking about multiple use ranked, I won't get into this too much, mainly because the Yoshi Cup just basically has the Maple Tree Way RT. That's about it.
Yep.
For the Peach Cup, you got the Red Vampire Flyer that you can use at, could be level 6, could be level 8, I'm not entirely sure. And then the Silver Candlelight Flight, the item you can get in your Spotlight this week 1.
Red Vampire Flyer is level 8 unlocked.
Level 8. Oof.
Yeah.
And then I can't see the silver. I don't think there is even a number there. I apologize. But that one's unlocked as well.
Level 8.
Level 8. So these are two options. You can almost take off your option unless you're willing to really, unless you really, really love them. Ghost Valley 2RT. You have the PD Product Gold. That's going to be a good option for you. That's level 6. That's actually going to be pretty meta if you want to take him up to level 6. And because that's going to be, you're going to get him a 1 level up from like 6 and 1 out of 5 or whatever it is, because you're going to win him in ranked. That is going to be a huge meta crusher there. You also got the Dry Bowser, Dry Bones.
Dry Bones.
Sorry.
Racing suit.
And then it's really tiny. And then Gold Tricksters, we talked about that gold gift, unlocked at level 6. Does that sound right?
Level 8.
Level 8. All right. Well, there you go. So the one thing to make note of is that gold PD. That's gonna be king for you.
Yeah.
Look at multiple use. Of course, you got Peach Halloween, and that's fine. She's used 3 times. But this PD Piranha Gold used 3 times. 1 level 1, 2 level 6 unlocks. Obviously, one of them you can't really use because he's in the Yoshi Cup. Under the Maple Tree Way. Kind of the gold Mii effect is we kind of like the gold Mii suit racing suit effect there. You got the Chain Chomp, you got the King Boost, Luigi Mansion. None of these you're really going to be using too much. I will say the Mario Halloween is coming in pretty handy for ranked for me, but not one I'm investing in. He's sitting at 6 and something. I'm not throwing any tickets on him, man. That's for sure. This Gold Trickster, though, this is what you were pointing out earlier. If you want to win ranked and you got to make any move, I think this is a solid move. I think a lot of these tracks you might need some help on, but he can be used 4 times, including one that's level 3. The level 8's gonna be tough, but you can at least use him 3 times for level 3 unlock included. Really strong there, much stronger than your other options. I will say this gold pumpkin card we talked about a couple times. You can use twice. It's a really good pairing. Just warn you, it's kind of tiny. That's really all I'll mention. I will say the Red Vampire Flyer, if you use it in ranked week 1, not a bad option for you for week 2. And then for the gliders, this big Boo Masks, man, used 3 times. Silver Candlelight Flights, another strong one too. Used 3 times. So if you got to win ranked, maybe you pick up that Silver Candlelight Flight, and however you have to take it to level 8 for that 3rd unlock, which is kind of tough. Green Sprout, again, one of the tracks you get the Jumping Mario, but at least you're using it twice. Magic Parasol, Pretzel Glider, Red and Gold Umbrella. One person asked me on Reddit, they said, hey, I'm debating between the Magic Parasol and the Fire Manta and the Luigi. I think it was the Icy Mario's mustache. Which one should I do? And I kind of torn between the Icy Mario and the Fire Manta. I still have faith in the Fire Manta that something will happen, but right now it's not looking that great for it. But I would pick them all over this Magic Parasol. The Magic Parasol has seen whatever little glory it had. It is well past its prime for sure. So I wouldn't necessarily go that direction. For those who asked, I like to help answer your questions that you guys have. Last but not least, we already broke 2 hours. King Boo's Louis, as we mentioned, used 14 times in All Cup ranking. So in All Cup ranking, we got 15 cups. Each cup has 3 tracks. So it's a lot of tracks to cover. Because we don't have the Spotlight boost, it's really hard to have something used a lot. So to have King Boo's Luigi Mansion used 15 times is really, really good, but it's not one that it's kind of laughable because most likely it doesn't make sense for you to invest in him. Now, if you already had him high, go ahead and use them. You know, I'm thinking about Woot Move for sure, especially with this Peach Halloween and Rosaline Halloween. Use 14 and 12 times respectively. King Boo Me Racing Suit. I saw Carlos, I think he's going for number 1. Is that what he's going for, Antilev?
I think he's just doing his best. He's not necessarily set on number 1.
I think he was trying to go for like 100% on everything or something ridiculous. But
yeah.
I know he went really strong into the King Boo Me Racing Suit. That's used 10 times, which is phenomenal. Mario Halloween, King Boo Gold used King Boo Gold. We haven't seen him used really heavily in the meta, but he's used 10 times on this tour. However, PD Me Suit, the PD Product Gold used 10 times already, which is phenomenal. So again, you know, if you're going for All Cup ranking, you want to get a little ahead of the curve on this coin boxer. Although he has a small number of tracks, used 10 times. That's phenomenal. You gotta love that. Nothing else really wants that standing out that high. We'll say the PD Piranha regular is used 8 times. For the Karts, this gold tricksters we kept talking about, man, 13 times. You gotta love that. It is a monster looking cart. I absolutely love that. Excited to see Carlos use that for sure. Red Vampire Flyer used 13 times as well. Same with the Streetle. Magnum Boom used 12 times. Trickster 12 times. Dark Trickster 10. Pumpkin Cart 10. Queen Bee 8. And then for the gliders, the Silver Candlelight Flight 13 times. That's huge. I already like this glider. I think I might get it before the week is done. Boom Mask used 10 times. Bowser Hanafuda surprisingly used 9 times. Vampire Wings 9 times. Spider Glider 9 and Wicked Wings 9. Sunset Balloons 8 and Magic Parasol 8. So there you go, Antilev. That is our 2-hour episode for the Halloween tour, the rundown. We talked about all the craziness in our top 10. We talked about buffs. We talked about the Spotlight Shop. What's your thoughts on the tour in general, high level?
You know, I wasn't looking forward to it, but it's a lot more fun and better than I expected. The new track is really cool. Donut Plains 3 was a nice surprise. I'm really enjoying that one. And the new battle course is really cool, so I'm actually really enjoying this tour.
I'm with you there. Well, good. I'm going to go get some tea for my throat as I'm about to die, Frank. But thank you guys for joining us for 2 hours here. I got some tracks to enjoy running with my Shielded Speedster. I'm excited. We'll see how it pans out. But that's probably the highlight of the rundown over the course of 2 hours. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully you have some fun in the battle mode. I think a lot of people have been having some really good battles. I saw Draco doing a stream as well. Continue using. Hopefully you do really well with the multiplayer, and whether it's battle mode or regular, and get prepared for next tour. But thank you guys so much for joining us. This is an absolute honor to do this channel. And Antilev, thanks for staying up really, really late to do this with me. I really appreciate it, man, and being flexible today.
Sure.
You're the GOAT, man. That's for sure. So until next time, may the friends be with you guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.